Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your boy HD, my brother Razor. What's going on, man? Yes, sir. I'm welcome your thoughts off the hit, June 18th. Man, we got two things coming to y'all today, man, because for the last few weeks, we've had two things going on Tuesday. We have NXT and Who Killed WCW? I think it's only right since WCW just finished coming off Vice right now from the hour 10 to 11. You know, we fresh off that. NXT is a 2-hour show, so we go and dive into NXT on the back end of the show. Hope everybody doing well tonight. I want to see some comments in the chat, man. Spam them likes, smash them likes, and
Do not
subscribe.
be shy.
Do not. We here, man. We here. Who killed WCW? I feel like we was anticipating this for the Vince Russo stuff.
For better or worse.
For better or worse. I remember you saying going into this, people were asking him on social media, "Are you gonna watch?" And he's like, "Wow, I lived it." And then we see him in the show.
But not even that. I said it to you earlier. He put out a tweet a few hours before the show that it aired. I will be accepting. Basically, if you want to interview him, pick his brand on all this stuff, you got to pay him up front while subscribing to his paywall. So it's like, so you want someone to pay you for maybe like a couple quick questions, and you're probably gonna get offended after the first question. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is, right? Look, I hate that I have this thought, but I always go to business. The reality is, there's gonna be people that whether the questions they really want to know, they probably just want to talk to the guy, right? So you're gonna just milk that shit for what it is. And like you said, after a while, you're gonna get frustrated hearing the same old question you've been answering for years. Unless somebody come up with some creative shit, but then it's like, all right, now, is he, what we doing with that after that?
I mean, also in his case, you can't really compare everything to Jerry Springer. Let's be honest. What Jerry was doing back then, when we got Steve Wilkos, Maury Povich, that shit was just different.
Yeah, I think it's hard to emulate that in the wrestling world when they weren't doing nothing that was like you got a good setup for that segment. You're just sprinkling that on everything.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
Yeah, it's not like, okay, this is a portion segment that we're gonna dedicate this type of style to. Shit was sprinkled on every portion of the show. So
from the main card to the dark matches in the undercard.
Man, it felt too like they gave us the introduction of like Vince Russo. Yes, Vince McMahon like had an eye for him because of what he was doing with the WWF magazine. Allegedly, Vince Russo was over there writing his own storylines on the magazine that weren't taking place on television.
This was allegedly the brains behind the key moments of the Attitude Era, supposedly.
Yeah, we get a little photos of him backstage with Bruce, right? With Bruce Pritchard and stuff like that. So we seeing him work with Vince. We seeing the backstage. So they showing us some credibility from Vince Russo. When he gets to WCW, it seems like obviously there's no structure. He's able to have full creative control.
Well, and that's because before Russo coming in, Bischoff's fired.
Yep.
Abruptly.
Yeah, because they wanted to blame somebody, had to be the scapegoat, right? So what you're responsible for is like what you always say, live and die by it, right?
Live and die by the sword.
Yep, they lived by Eric Bischoff, and well, with major success, you're gonna have to die by it until we bring in Vince Russo. Now, allegedly, the Vince Russo, he says the numbers are there. They went up slightly. That's it. But they went up.
So you say for sake of conversation, you gained 10 more people. In his mind, it's still a little.
Man, I mean, I could see for like depending where they came from or what their goals or whatever they were doing, it's like anything above the line is profit, right? Anything that's not in the negative, is profit.
But if you're a certain part already in the negative, you're going to need more than just that little slightly.
Right. And then remember what we be saying about stagnant. If there's like a trajectory, the trajectory isn't going like this. It's like this, like you said, slight, but it's like a very light, like little go up, like
Yeah, it's like a little flinch.
yeah, and at any moment it could just go like back down, like you know what I'm saying? It could like
It's one of those hope for the best, but also you got to expect the worst. And I think they expected the worst, but in their minds, or at least in Russo's, it was like, this is still fine. This is television. This is a TV show. We're gonna get ratings. Don't worry, because it's working for so and so and so and so. Well, does Jerry Springer have a wrestling promotion? Yeah, he's doing his shit, whatever. But is he doing this? Is he doing this?
right. And then also like I'll take myself back into these times where I also analysis like giving an analysis on what these guys are talking about. And in my time period, I felt like what I got from Vince Russo was kind of like he was trying to be like a knockoff Eric Bischoff. Like, remember Eric Bischoff was cool with the NWO? Felt like Vince Russo tried to like throw his little like I'm cool kind of vibe on things. And
to a degree, yeah. But like I said, at the time when he's coming in his mind, I made the Attitude Era. I'm why you guys are now in the shitter. It's me. Therefore, you should come to me. Moolah was good.
yes, sir. My brother Moolah in the building.
But in Vince's case, in his mind, he was the golden goose. He was the savior, that guy that could get him back to the promised lands. Did he come with a bit of an ego? Absolutely.
Hell
and
yeah,
with that
especially
ego,
when you sought after. When somebody goes after you, you know, it's hard to be a little humble there.
And for guys like Hogan, Nash, Kevin Sullivan, all they're seeing this is a guy that put us in this spot. Who the fuck does he think he is? And like they touched on when Sullivan and Brassy, all the other guys would kind of like throw powwows together, what did Vince say he did? Separated them. He wanted no form of politics or whatever. It was his show, his way or the highway.
Yeah, man, he pretty much like because you know what's going on, like in a sense, like you the another like you are outsider coming in from WWF and all that. The guys already feel a certain type of way about you, so you know they congregating now. You're not trying to allow that, but it's the inevitable. It's gonna happen.
But it's one of those. He also didn't do much to try to like earn their trust in return. It's just this is my ideas. Run with it because I said so.
Yup. That's what he fucked up at though. Like that whole coming through like I'm rough shot. It works if you set a tone and like you say you establish a relationship. You just coming through like, well, this is what's in contract, so y'all got to fall in line.
Yep. You pay me to do this, therefore, you're not getting out of this. If not, I'm going home, and I'll wait for my check.
That whole angle with the like blood stuff with Kevin Nash, that shit was crazy.
I almost forgot about the stuff with Ric Flair's son, and I think that was Francine, maybe.
Right.
That stuff was crazy. Like we touched on in our chat, yeah, Johnny the Bull and Big Vito handcuffed to a bed with shit getting poured on them by Disco Inferno.
There was a lot of crazy stuff going on. And it's wow. It's kind of like what WWE were doing when they were losing. WCW started doing like that whole little wacky, like.
Well, yes and no. The early parts, they did revert to that, as some would say, the TNA style, the tits and ass style method, the sex sales, the shock value, but they're investing in Mike Tyson. They're investing in a Ken Shamrock. They're investing in a Sable, a Pamela Anderson, people that are supposed to be A-list players. Whereas when WCW did it, they just grabbed random people that have to be attractive. You reach out to a David Arquette. You reach out to someone say that not up the same level as the aforementioned celebrities in WWF that were used at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, they had Bruce Buck for the early shows, like with the sold out shows, or even when they did the Sturge or whatever, when Bischoff was there. But aside from that, there wasn't much there. Could you argue respectfully that Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman are on the same value of star power as a Ken Shamrock and a Mike Tyson? Rodman maybe, but
then it's like yes and no, like by name and value. Yeah, NBA champion. You're gonna tune in, especially he went to WCW in the height of him playing in the Bulls, so they did a wild strategic move there. But Tyson, though, when that, like you said the other night, yesterday, that moment with him and Austin in the ring and Raw, that changed things.
You see Hogan flip the double birds, and Tyson's, man, it's on. Because everyone was knowing that's Mike fucking Tyson.
That was definitely a moment right there. Like you said, the inclusion of, but WWE been doing that since like WrestleMania 1, right? But it's like you said, the selection of in the 90s.
They were choosing to invest in those big money players. Like WrestleMania 1, you get Cyndi Lauper. WrestleMania 3, was it? You get Lawrence Taylor. You get
what was WCW's WrestleMania?
Starrcade.
See, and that's not even like they never took it.
But that was the Dusty Rhodes thing. Dusty Rhodes wasn't really on their best idea. They're like with Flair with Jim Herd, but also Dusty was kind of feels type of way with Vince McMahon. So the Starrcade, everyone knew that was Dusty's thing.
Because also that's what gives. I think like that's what gives the momentum.
They did it a few times, but the later years, I think they veered away from it.
Yeah, because that type of spectacle, like that's what WWE likes to call it, a spectacle. WrestleMania is really a spectacle. Like they go crazy.
And here's the crazy part: Starrcade actually came before WrestleMania.
And look, but it's not. I don't want to say it's not treated as such like prestige. People know.
No, the prestige is there, but like I said, the way it was treated and presented, and the way it should have been treated, wasn't the case.
Yeah,
because again, Russo and Bishop could have argued, yeah, you're WrestleMania, but guess what? Starrcade is the biggest show in professional wrestling. We've been here before you. This is our shit. We are the big spectacle. We are the granddaddy of them all. That should have been more.
If they put more entertainment around that, then they could say that it just be the best wrestling or the and Starrcade. That's what I think of Starrcade. Like, oh, this is the top tier wrestlers. Like when you think of WrestleMania, you're gonna get all around entertainment. You might get music stars, movie stars, athletes, like you know what I'm saying? Like they gave you Muhammad Ali and Mr. T in the early WrestleManias, like you know what I'm saying? Like they was doing that shit. So like you said, to bring Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet at that time, and WCW over here bringing in David Arquette, with no shade to David Arquette, because again, like I said the other day, probably last week, that movie, I enjoyed that Ready to Rumble stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Again, it's a fun watch then and now. It's a fun movie. But again, as far as keeping track of what's going on during the Monday Night Wars at that point in time, the general timing of it all wasn't necessarily in the best position. And Russo being Russo, whoever this idea came across, whether it's Vince Russo, whether it's allegedly Tony Schiavone, Bischoff for allowing it to pursue wherever the idea spawned from initially, it was in poor timing. And the manner in which you did it, because at the stage where everybody is against it, even the person you're going to put the belt on and the competitors, they're all saying, this is a bad idea. Wouldn't you want to at least put that on ice and try to figure out a way to make it work instead of just going full send?
I mean, I would have thought they would probably gave him maybe the U.S. belt or something else, but they went full balls to the wall and said, "Fuck it, we throwing the heavyweight belt on him."
Or who was him? It was him and Paige, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you was Paige NWO then, or Wolfpack maybe at the time?
Nah.
So you could have had him versus Incorporate, NWO or Wolfpack, whatever name there, even a Filthy Animals name there. You have Arquette kind of screw DDP, new champion there, and then you kind of tease into Arquette. I want this, whatever. I want this. I'm David Arquette. I'm one of the biggest names in Hollywood. Blah blah blah, whatever. That's how you kind of set the table, and then at least show him how to throw a goddamn punch like a man.
Oh yeah, I see that shit. The reason, yeah, like they threw him into a situation that wasn't ideal for him, and then a week later he relinquishes the title, and people were still mad. He cut a great promo. Oh, I don't deserve this title.
But again, like I said, they're mad because
it killed the prestige. Like
that, like I said, it was just the whole way of how we got here. It's like this. Unfortunately, no offense to David Arquette, this never should happen to begin with. And that's kind of what they're kind of mad about. And then you have,
but this is already after the finger poke of doom.
Mm-hmm.
So people like at this time, the fans are just gonna be mad at anything that's not traditional competitive, because we got to remember, people still think that wrestling is somewhat real. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's go digital. I appreciate that. Y'all hear that in the background right there? That's my sound alert for a new follow right there. Yo, digital, I appreciate you supporting the channel. Let's go.
He said, I know what that means.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That joint was blessed. You know what I mean? Where was we getting at just now with the
we're still the David Arquette stuff, but like I said, my thing was they never should have got there. The time could have been worse, and all Russo was saying, but look, we're getting publicity. That's all he looked at. Any publicity is good publicity. Yeah, guys like Kevin Sullivan and Bish are going, this probably wasn't the best move.
Oh yeah, that was my point. Thank you. That was my point. I was getting to that. It's not recepted well by the fans because we're in an era where kayfabe is still alive, and it's just like there's
everyone had a feeling that like shit was supposed to go a certain type of way. Everyone kind of already had that, or we're starting to learn that and accepting of that. It's just like we touch on all the time. Don't insult our intelligence, and if even it's going to be bad, at least try to make it look good. Don't just throw shit out there for the sake of throwing it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because even a bad matchup can generate some positive outcomes.
Yeah, because I see the theory of why they mad that a champion or somebody that's not even a wrestler, period, just comes into the company and gets the belt put onto them. Mm-hmm. But if there's a slight chance that it can further what's already going downhill, in my opinion, I would say take the shot like they did. But also, I would have did what they claimed they did, which was like a survey, like, yo, how everybody feel, like, they capped on that.
At the time with the AOL message boards, they knew damn what the fuck was going on.
No, and I'm just in terms of the talent,
or even then they would wait for what Dave Moses is going to put in the Wrestling Observer magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Or what they were going to
right there.
You got Tony Khan in the message board saying this was ass.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like us talking about Vince Russo was more lived than that made his tenure look on the show. It just felt like 10-15 minutes into it, they talk about there's a meeting for Vince Russo, and they want to hold a committee. They want to have a committee and have him a part of it.
But again, that's a testament because what we were seeing, you're a few months in. They're again by 3 months they want to at least see if there's a plan in place. You're just throwing shit out the wall, seeing what sticks. So like, hey, we're gonna get a team together. At the end of the day, this is probably gonna help you more than anything. And what does it say? I'm not interested in that. I have a contract, and if I'm not the main dude in charge, I'm not the only dude in charge with the say so. I'm gonna take my ass home. Pay me.
And that's a boss move right there. He just took his ball and went home, and it's like, look, it's in my contract. Like, again, this is why in my side of playing both sides of the coin, when you do business, if I sign the contract and you're trying to get me to do something that it's in my contract, because if it was the other way around, you're going to have me do something I don't want to do. So I don't blame him for that. It was bad for the business, fucked up for the talent. But on his standpoint, he doing what he felt he needed to do. You know what I'm saying?
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, to a degree, because it's like, bro, it's in my contract. If it's any other way, bro, y'all gonna say like y'all gonna force me into this shit when you bring me over here under this pretense. Kind of like going later into the episode when they bring back Bischoff. We're gonna spend back, but when he negotiated in his contract, I don't want to be an employee, bro. I'll work directly for you, but so like if you negotiate in certain things, that's unfortunate with business. That's how contracts go. You got if you're a good negotiator, you get what you want.
Yep.
If you're in the position of what it seems like leverage, you're gonna get what you want.
But also, with that being said, if they sense something's not working, you gotta be okay with hearing some other ideas. Because yes, you may have been the quote unquote alleged brains behind the Attitude Era. All them ideas weren't yours.
You know what's crazy?
What?
Did it not say they sent him over there to destroy WCW? The same thing I'd be saying about AEW. And didn't somebody say that they felt like, I think it was Goldberg. Goldberg said like, nah, he was sent over here like
to fuck with us.
Yeah, like I thought that was just funny. Like, bro, I know I wasn't the only. Like, there's got to be somebody that shit that thought like, nah, he was sent over here for devious shit.
So let's play devil's advocate real quick, right, for a minute.
Yep.
If that was the case, how come he hasn't been back in WWE since he left the first time? If that was the case,
I mean, it's a valid point.
Because once he leaves, he never comes back. Not even once. Where does he go? He goes with Jeff Jarrett and he helps kickstart TNA. But again, he's more of an on-screen character. Yes, there's still some shit that's going south and all that, but for the most part, it's not him running the show. It's Jeff Jarrett.
Nah, you got a point there, part of me. I was putting up on Twitter that we live, y'all. We live. Turn this up. Facts, you said that last time, like 2 episodes ago. Come on, man. They be sent there to sabotage, and today in the episode we seen even Goldberg but it was kind of tongue in cheek. Like I ain't gonna lie, I feel like he really he don't fuck with Vince Russo, so he just be saying shit sometimes. And then, he probably feel that way though.
I mean, but also like so a lot of the veterans didn't really fuck with Russo because of their first-hand experiences in WWF. A lot of them also heard from said veterans on how he operates, and they're like, nah, I'm not really cool with all that.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest though. I give one thing to like Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff. I feel like them fellas had drive. Like they weren't just the dudes just happy to be collecting the check. Well, it seemed like from that point, send me home. I collect that part, But
Eric, I definitely think tried. Then he got burnt out the first time. The second time, he tried to salvage it, and then he realized, no, this shit's already lost.
Bro, then you never go back the same. Like, you ever went back to a company you used to work for? Like, I've walked out of a company, right? And then they called me back, like, yo, why'd you leave? Like, come back. And then I'll go back, and I'll be like, all right, but y'all gotta, I can't.
And the first thing you see is, this is why I left the first time.
Yeah, for real. And then it's like even other worse shit you start noticing, like, because now you really don't care, right? The first time you cared, you was like, well, I'm willing to put up with certain shit. The second time, you're not willing to put up with that same shit no more. Like
you're paying attention to everything. That just further proves your point. But let's jump forward real quick and touch on the Goldberg situation between him and Russo. I forgot they were in a cage together, to be honest.
I did too.
And the whole thing of now, as Vince says, he after that move he wasn't comfortable, but Bischoff was in a ring doing some shit. Vince was doing in the ring doing some shit. Everybody that was of that type of leadership, for lack of a better term, ultimately was doing that for the simple reason of that's how they earned the trust with the boys.
Yeah, you in the business, it's almost inevitable.
You got to cut your teeth some way. Again, some folks refer to as paying your dues. Other folks just, all right, this is how I know I can. That's how I know I can trust you. This is how I can fuck with you or not.
Even Vince, right? Like you would hear him in interviews say, oh, "I wouldn't tell the wrestlers to go do something out there I wouldn't do." And then you kind of go back and watch some of the shit.
And everybody would say that, hey, Vince whether you like Vince or not, he'll be like, he would never have you do something that he wouldn't do. Now, the problem with that is Vince will do literally anything. that's the downside to it. But for the most part, 9 times out of 10, he wouldn't ask you to do something if, one, he didn't trust you could do it just fine, or two, if, again, he wouldn't do it his own damn self.
Yep. They got to sit there, like, gain the trust, like you said. So it's already bad that they don't fuck with you, Vince Russo, and you're not even looking good in the ring either. Like, in this, like, real
What was it? Was it hockey gear with the football helmet or something like that?
Some real, like you just walked in the arena like this type shit. Like, for real, like, it's your everyday, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how there's some people that wear street clothes, but you're like, nah, you know that they picked this out for TV. Like, that shit looked like you just literally walked in the building like that. Like, okay, what we doing today? Me and Goldberg in the cage? All right, come on.
Like, how long we got to go? Anything specific you want us to do? All right, cool, bet.
Fuck it, right? Just on the fly. Let's get this done.
But and on the flip side, you go to Goldberg like, hey, I'm thinking we do this. How you think? You just bounce the ideas or whatever. Because again, you're establishing that trust. What does Vince say? I got a concussion. Don't do this. Don't do this. If you got a concussion, why are you there to begin with? And that's my first question. If you're concussed, why are we doing this to begin with? Also, again, this was a little bit after the Brett situation, but with Goldberg per se, again, yeah, he's very physical, football background, but could you have put someone else in place of Goldberg for that specific spot? Like, say maybe a Scott Steiner who's more established, similar feats of physicality, but been in the game. He knows how to protect people. Or even, like I said, a Booker T, maybe even Nash or Hall if they're not hurt or gone at the time or going through their bullshit. Why put the greenest guy there in that situation? Because, one, if stuff does go south, they'll look at Goldberg and try to shame him for that.
Yeah, it's just a fucking terrible situation to be in for sure. Like,
but, and I do kind of agree with Goldberg's statement on that, was if he really wanted to hurt him, he would have fucking hurt him.
I mean, that's another thing.
Uh-oh.
Too, that I got to think, like, they put a bad rap on somebody like Goldberg.
You getting a little choppy? Everything good? Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing some minor technical difficulties. We will work this as smooth as possible.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Right, I was doing a little PSS and we got a little technical difficulties. We'll get it squared away. Just don't be alarmed.
Yeah. So I'm monitoring my web browsers over here, and it showed like it was a lot going on. So I accidentally slept this browser that I'm on by accident. So that's me, chat. That's me. But yeah, we here.
If you haven't saw yesterday's episode or even this morning's episode for that matter, we covered a whole lot of shit.
Hell yeah.
These computers is doing overtime right now.
Overtime work right now. Like, I gotta move shit to the hard drive. Go back to Goldberg though. Like, I feel like just him being where he was at in the card, you couldn't blame him for anything. Like I was saying, they give him a bad rap, give Ryback a bad rap, but I don't think they would have made it in the business as long as if they was really going out there with the intent to hurt people on purpose. Yes, things are a little stiff. Shit happens. They learning, but
I think in the Ryback situation specifically, it was a combination of him always constantly getting a start and stop push when at the time he was gaining some steam, but Vince rushed just a little bit. Punk was already close to tap away, so that's already a powder cake by itself. Unfortunately, something happens, and we get out of that. But I can't recall, or I'm sure there's been instances where Ryback has been accused of injuries. Again, you can see in his style, again, very physical type of a style. And I think the fact that we hadn't really seen him anywhere else aside from WWE is kind of a testament to, okay, maybe there was some truth to that matter. Maybe, I don't know. But again, it does kind of like puts that into perspective. But whereas Goldberg, it's like, yeah, he has more of a sports background, very green. I said, was 150 something before he got his first loss. So you being brand new to the game, you're already being told you're the man. So you already have this ego already to begin with. So it's another powder keg right there. It's just a whole lot of things that could have been very solved very easily. Much like with AEW.
Yeah, it's a crazy, like, professional wrestling is a unique fight in itself, where like we know the kayfabe, like, things are plotted out to go the way they are, right? But the champions always, they get better perks, right, within the company.
Mm-hmm.
It's the how do we get there without playing the politics.
It's that, and you have to have a certain level of trust in the individuals you were sharing the ring with, because at the end of the day, you guys are the ones putting the asses in the seats. You guys are the reasons why people are paying all this money to sell out this venue for you. So it's up to you guys to put on a great performance for what it is. Stuff may go south, though it is what it is, but again, you handle it like professionals. You handle it like adults.
Yep, I mean, that's the only way I can imagine it. Like, but then sometimes the concept gets lost when the dollar signs are involved. Opportunity, TV time, it's a number of factors. So it's like human nature. It's like it's a tall task to really tell somebody to be professional, and it should be, easier. But at that time in the '90s, cutthroat like that, even we see it now where dudes feel like they're more deserving of the spots that they have, and they want that top spot. You know what I'm saying? So,
and again, it comes, and again, wrestling is a what have you done for me lately type of business. So again, you got to put the work in, you got to get your reps in, and the time you do get, you maximize your minutes and you build from there.
no, that's crazy. Yeah, it really is that, because I was thinking about it as you said it, and it's just kind of like Matt Hardy. Like, I feel like he really raised his stock back up. We knew his stock was there, but just like the AEW stuff, some people were like scoffing that when they see him out. Oh, does he still got it? And TNA, go back over there, it looked like he just picked up where he left off.
Yeah, and he picked up with a program that kind of reinvented his career, and that was the Broken Universe. And it's something that ultimately grew as its own respective staple of TNA's 20-year history. It was a very dark time for TNA. Matt Hardy invented this persona, and it took the world by storm. But there was a couple of the points on the Who Killed WCW that I thought was rather interesting. That was essentially Brad Siegel's role in everything so far. I've heard the name a few times over the years, but
That's the older gentleman that hired Bischoff back that he don't remember. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
that nigga capping too. I ain't gonna lie, Chad. He out here lying.
I mean, there's a good chance he seems like a Hollywood guy, so there's a good chance he deals with contracts all the time. So maybe he does legitimately not remember. However, it's like
signing off on shit.
If you don't care for the beginning, just tell your boss to put you in another department. Like, if you don't give a damn to begin with, why were you there for the whole 10 years?
I felt like I want to get to that point. Before that point, when Kevin Sullivan took over, when Vince Russo went home, that whole little bit where again, time moves fast. 15 days. Benoit was in the championship and then has the WWE.
Yeah, well, and also, I think they kind of went to Kevin Sullivan because prior to his tenure with the present day WCW, he'd had time learning under certain individuals as to be a booker. So, I think the early WCW days, Brian Pillman Sr. referred to Sullivan as the Booker Man. So he'd already had a little bit of insight on how to kind of run a show for the most part. So then, was he a reliable safety blanket? Yes. Did he try to salvage them? Absolutely. But like much like we're gonna get on right now with Benoit winning the belt and 2 weeks later going to the opposition. I think in the case of the Radicals, respectively, it's like they've been around all these years, and I think it's just too little, too late as far as time.
Too little, too late for what? For them to jump or for them to stay?
No, for them to stay, because like everyone says, they may not have been the Hogan, Hall, Nash level, but they very well easily could have.
Mm-hmm.
Very easily could have. Because we saw their talent in the undercard there. Look at Benoit and Eddie, for example, in WWE. Granted, Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko didn't pan out as well, but look at Benoit and Guerrero. Fan favorites their whole career up until their unfortunate passings.
I'm surprised they didn't show Jericho.
Now Benoit, say what you will. Say what you will. Again, is what it is. But as far as we're looking at the wrestler itself, not the other bullshit, one of the best in the world at his time for what he was doing. Eddie Guerrero, beloved all over the world, much like Benoit. One of the best that we saw as far as a complete package, from his ring work, his microphone skills, his charisma, everything. He had a unique look. Wrestling royalty, really further dissect it.
Do we get Chris Jericho and like any video clips, mention, interview? Because I think like also like seeing the Radicals just sparked a thing in my mind too. Chris Jericho was in that position too, where he was in WCW, moved on to WWE, Y2K Countdown, straight into a program with The Rock.
I think because of his affiliation with AEW and this is The Rock's project, probably no. Next week might be the last episode, so we might see it. Maybe. But we're trying to dissect some of the negatives of WCW. Aside from Ralphus, Jericho did do a whole lot of stuff in WCW that was necessarily bad.
They'll just probably like highlight that more like a Radicals leaving, like y'all let a young talent,
because that was a big deal for them, because you had 4 guys. Like I said, everyone said that these could have been the 4 guys that, had you done right by them, could have been next in line to keep WCW in business as far as replacing Hogan, Hall, Nash, Luger, Savage.
Again, like you said, everything is public knowledge. Like Jericho probably spoken on this a bunch of times himself, but under this setting, I wouldn't mind seeing him speak on this. Like kind of like what they did with Nash today was kind of cool. It was like the first time they did it in the series where they played a clip and give us your knee-jerk reaction to this. Like,
but also, I mean, Kevin Nash has always been anti-Russo. Kevin Sullivan's been anti-Russo. The relationship with Bishop and Russo, that's, again, I said public knowledge, unfortunately. Same with Goldberg, with Brett. These are guys that historically haven't really had the best experiences with Vince Russo. I mean, I would love to see a Jeff Jarrett's incidents because he was very much a Vince Russo fan. Yeah, Booker T was also somewhat of a fan of Vince Russo because, again, that's how he got his 5 championship titles. But yeah, honestly, yeah, now I think about it, Jericho probably would have been an interesting one. But it also makes sense because he's not currently involved with WWE at this time, and everyone else, to a degree, is. Because we could have also, it would have been interesting to hear Sting's inside input on some of this stuff.
That's kind of why I'm surprised too. Like they showing Sting, but they not. But no Jericho videos either. Like
I'm sure if Macho Man and Scott Hall were around, we'd hear from them. If Benoit and Eddie were around, we would definitely hear from them. But again, it's fascinating. I mean, we probably wouldn't have heard so much from Raven at the time because I think he was already established in WCW or ECW, then going jumping into WWE. But he's another one I wouldn't mind hearing from. Would love to hear from Perry Saturn, assuming he's doing well.
It kind of sucks, and it don't suck for Booker T because like he was just becoming the embodiment of like WCW, and then they really going downhill from there. But obviously, we know what his career is. He went on to be a superstar in WWE, so it's not that bad.
And I kind of agree on this theory on what took so long for him to become champion, in which it didn't happen sooner because of the color of his skin.
Unfortunately, things like that play a factor in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the harsh truth. Whether people want to talk about it or not, that happens a lot. So it took a long time for them to get Ron Simmons the championship. You know what I'm saying? In WWE, they candidly, you know, had a few champions here and there.
And
it very much could play the part.
I could be wrong, but in New Japan, I think Bob Sapp was the only African American champion. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, again, like I said, that's the unfortunate part with everything, because we can all agree that Booker T was probably one of the reasons why WCW lasted as long as it did. You had Booker T, you had DDP, Flair come back. You had the Radicals up until they jumped ship. You had Jericho there until he jumped ship. You still had Rey Mysterio there. You had Billy Kidman there still. You had Conan and the Filthy Animals there. You still had bodies there that were still fan favorites. And
I didn't like the comparisons growing up, bro. Like the arguments I always remember, like if you was one fan of WCW or WWF, they're like, if you like the Undertaker, oh, but there's Sting, but then Stone Cold, there's Goldberg, The Rock, Booker T. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, they might have one similarity, but their styles are kind of like, you know what I mean? I used to hate because why? Because Booker T does the bookend, and The Rock does the rock bottom.
Goldberg and Austin, they're both bald with goatees
and wear black trunks.
No, like, Steve had the jorts.
After a while, yeah.
He had the jorts and the boots.
Bro, it was just the comparison. Like, damn, like Undertaker Sting, I get it too, but then it's like, how do we? It would have been how do we get there, especially after so much time. Like when they got older and shit, I was like, damn, the more time go by, it would have been dope to see, like right when WCW got purchased from WWE.
But also, as far as those quote unquote arguments, WWF never had anything like the Four Horsemen. WWE never had anything like the NWO. Yes, you could argue DX, but
again, different, similar but different.
At the time, with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, were they on the same level as Hogan, Hall, and Nash? Not yet. So I mean, there's ways we can dissect that for again another 8 to 10 hours tonight. But at the end of the day,
like DX, I think DX ultimately ended up doing more, but NWO was undeniable. Like what they did for the business, the impact, like you said, the top three where they were at when they formulated that group. Like, okay, at the back end, one could argue DX is stronger. Like when after Triple H and Shawn won all the championships they got, they still got the New Age Outlaws and fucking
X-Pac. You had China. You had Rick Rude until he went to the NWO. You name it.
And DX, like they actually battled. Like NWO, for they was beating up, they were jumping people. DX had more like they fought the Hart Foundation. Shawn and Triple H fought the Brothers of Destruction. Like it wasn't like they were just out there just jumping people. You know what I'm saying? Like they were trolling people.
They're just with the main event guys. Whereas NWO was just who clicked up with the NWO.
Yeah, they DX fought with the Nation of Domination. You know what I'm saying? Even with Owen Hart in there. In the Nation as a nugget.
I forgot about that.
God rest his soul, you know what I'm saying? Facts, like that's my difference. Like they similar because they factions and they're like them bad guy. Like I can't even they like them bad boy dudes that everybody want to cheer for, all the girls want to be with. That's the only similarity with DX and NWO. But in terms of me, how they acted, NWO reminded me of like these older biker dudes that just came from a biker bar, ready to fuck, or like wherever the fuck they came from, chilling from. You know what I mean? DX just remind me of like the college kids on foolery, like
the drunk frat boys.
yeah, like on foolery, like on 100, like on tilt.
Like you said, they're on that demon time.
Demon time, bro. They on demon time. And so the NWO, they was just on some money business. Yeah, we drinking, we you know what I mean? We get lit and all that, but it's a different vibe. Like
With them, it was like y'all came to see us. You get what you get out of us, but y'all really came to see us to do whatever, just to show up.
yeah, bro, for sure. So those similarities again, people used to just kill me with all of the like, oh, these dream matchups and shit. You know what I'm saying? I think like the better ones was what the ones we didn't think we wanted, Stone Cold and Booker T. I didn't know I wanted that.
The supermarket. Booker T calling Vince McMahon while Vince is in a press box, saying he's trying to hire a Stone Cold, and then you hear Stone Cold in the PA system and all that.
You heard Booker's story behind like which supermarket they went to. Like they really went to some supermarket in the hood, paid them.
Yeah,
like yeah, we about to go crazy in
but
here.
hey, yeah, we're gonna get a little wild. Do not call the cops, please. Here's this much money. If it's not enough, let us know. We will gladly get more. It ain't no big deal, but we gonna fuck some shit up for a TV segment. Just please bear with us.
That's fire. Like what? On the fly shit too. Like what?
And then we get them run through the aisles. You get the infamous line, price check on a jackass.
Mm-hmm. Nah, the moments was crazy. You see Stone Cold just busting out the refrigerator with the milk and all of that.
Yep.
Like, what?
dousing the milk.
Yeah, like he Kurt Angle or something. I'm like, nah.
Hey, Buck, here's to you.
Bro, times like that, bro. We didn't know we needed that, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I said so. Like for Booker T, it was a crazy ride, and I'm glad that like a dude like him stuck on that trajectory of like, yo, bro, all the politics, all the this, all of that. Like he walked out the last WCW show as a champion, if I'm not mistaken.
He was there till the very end.
Yeah, bro. So some of the other people they probably like Buff Bagwell. I heard a story about him on when Medusa was on Busted Open. Like he got fired because he showed up late or some shit like that. Because in WCW you could just show up whenever.
Yeah. So the rumor was tell me what that match he had on Raw, whatever that looked like ass.
Yeah.
Some say that he got hurt the night before. Some say he was partying too hard and he just showed up fucked up and he said, "I'm good," and it was what it was.
Yeah.
And he thought he was cool regardless, like we said.
She even said Tori Wilson did it not knowing, like when she first signed to WWE, she had like, went to work late because in WCW it's kind of almost like AEW. You don't know if you're gonna get used until shit's announced on social media. Back then you didn't know unless you got Eazy-E calling you, or Vince.
I mean, at the time, I'm sure Vince had more of a schedule then. It's one of those like, we don't care what you're doing. At least be here when we ask you to be here. At least.
Either way, it's hard to keep people happy, right? Because you hear stories back at WWE, you got people back in catering, they upset. They at home, they upset. You don't get used, you're gonna be upset. No matter where the hell you at. You could be in fucking Toys R Us, you're gonna be upset. You be shopping with Zack Ryder for toys in the toy collection, the Michael Jordan of wrestling collections. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. No matter where you at, you're still gonna be upset. It's just crazy.
But also with some cases, especially like the lower mid card guys, like, well, what are you doing to get the boss's attention in a positive manner?
The proverbial brass ring.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at this is long after the situation, but look at John Cena, for example, on the verge of getting fired because they're not really fucking with this whole prototype gimmick. So,
well, I think it's unfair to say, I'm gonna be honest, but if you can show the company, like kind of like what Jinder Mahal said, now that's a different time because Triple H probably doesn't look at that, but just in these times, we take us back before Triple H your physique, if you showed like Vince was impressed by, oh wow, this dude could work out. Nah, he's working out more than me. Like it was certain things out the ring, the work ethic. Like again, I say it doesn't always come down to what's in the ring, right? Like you said, what's gonna set you apart? Yeah, you could do a body slam, you could do a big boot, a leg drop, a this, a that, a DDT, but what's setting you apart?
And it's in Cena's case, swapped out the wrestling boots for a pair of Reebok pumps, got some jorts, got himself a little chain of locks, some brass knucks, some little throwback jerseys, and started rapping.
Yep. But yeah, with that little story of Stephanie hearing him rap and stuff, that don't hurt either. Like, hey, you could do like, you know, shout out to her for even giving him throwing him a lifeline if that story's accurate, where like he over there bullshitting and she's like,
so yeah, Stephanie, maybe Triple H telling Vince, hey, we might have something here. And
it helps everybody. Because now Triple H and Steph looking like they seen something that you was about to let go.
Yeah.
And look at what John Cena turned to be.
Now, on the flip side, it would have been very interesting to see John Cena go right to TNA, because this is around the time they were getting started up too, give or take. So we could have saw a whole different John Cena.
I think it's like a combination of two, like being comfortable, being hungry. Remember when Cody left, he was like, oh, I don't want to be like that same old story that you hear. Oh, wait for the next chapter, and there is no next chapter. Like I think it's just hunger when you know your back's against the wall. Like you said, maybe Cena knew he was on his way out. Like, man, I got to do something. Like,
give them a reason to want to invest in you. That's the best advice you can tell yourself. Like, give them a reason to give a damn about you. If you're gonna just phone it in or whatever, guess what? You may not be along for the ride. Now, again, I'm sure you can earn that privilege down the road, but if you're brand new in Vince's eyes, that's the last thing you want to think about. Like I said, Vince like body guys. He wants to see who's taking care of themselves. Like, again, everybody partied then, whatever, but it's like, how are you rehabbing? How are you recovering? How you take care of yourself?
And even like Ric Flair, you want to take it back, right? He didn't always have the biggest physique, but he's like, I'm the nature boy. I'm living this lifestyle. And he invested into himself. Like, he wasn't just wearing robes with no rhinestones there. Like the predecessors before him, they wore robes. It was nice. But mine's are nicer.
The money he's spending on all his shit could have bought a couple houses or a whole ass neighborhood.
And with the name he made and the amount of money he probably made in his careers, it was worth it. You got like even rap dudes, Ric Flair went drip on it. You know what I'm saying? Like you got Migos and everybody making like pop culture still knows who you are.
Oh, real quick sidebar on that note. Happy birthday to the late Takeoff. He would have been 30 years old today.
Man, happy birthday, man. Man, legends often take it too soon.
But also, But back to the topic of folks that trying to get the Watchers investors of Rocky. If he didn't like find his own little confidence with the nation, he could have been out the door too.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, yeah.
Steve Austin, he already been around the block with everybody. Until he went to ECW and started learning from Sandman, got his whole character already. And then when he came back to WWF, Vince saw that, okay, I can make money with this.
I'm not going to lie too, right? Look, shout out to the Big Oos. Rikishi showed us his ass and we all loved it. That made him bucks.
Well, remember we was doing before that the whole say no to drug, also this positive stuff.
Yeah.
And then before that, he was what?
I remember a few. Yeah, I'm about to say that. I remember a few iterations of him, like when he was a tag team, a little bit out the tag team.
Look at Godfather, Papa Shango, Kama Mustafa. Sometimes it's okay to reinvent yourself.
Again, as being a team player for the company, like going back to what we spoke about yesterday, Rikishi and the Rock promo. Like Rikishi was never the world heavyweight champion, right? But it's still made for that promo. It's still made for the storyline with the Rock and everything. And even now to this day, where we see how everything could be presented. So sometimes it's unfortunate for the person, but everybody got to know, like, it might not be your time. It might be one time. It might not be. Scott Hall
Like
was never world heavyweight champion.
It's like one of The Rock's most famous quotes: "Know your role."
Yeah, bro.
So, some are destined for the bright lights, the main event scene. Others are ultimately going to plateau at that upper mid card, lower mid card. Some are destined for the comedy acts, but wrestling is supposed to be a melting pot of all the above, a little bit for everybody.
Because do you feel like flavor of the month is the same thing as being really over?
It depends. It depends because of, again, like you said, how do you utilize that time? Everybody ultimately starts as the flavor of the month. It's just, what do you do to maintain that relevancy? When Randy Orton first broke from Evolution, you can argue he was a flavor of the month because he had won the world title.
Youngest
he got
world
booted
champion.
Booted out of Evolution, so he's now one of the hot baby faces. And then the rest is history. When Matt Hardy got fired and came back after the whole Lita drama, he was to a degree a flavor of the month till Edge beats him. Another thing that we could throw in, Rey Mysterio when Eddie passed away. That was kind of flavor of the month, unfortunately. It's just, how do you maximize those minutes to try to prolong your own self?
Yeah, because I don't know. There be a lot of times that I feel like the fans have a trajectory. Like, again, we've seen every so few WrestleManias, stuff like that. We get the fans changing the outcomes.
Or look at Jey Uso now with the Yeet.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of folks that are tired of that.
That is true.
But
that's a good point too, right? Like, you got him in all of these big spots, so it's like he's very well deserving. But again, it's really like flavor of the month kind of feel.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when I was saying, like, I want to see more from him, it's not to say like, oh, he whack, but it's like, oh, you just right now you seen that that's the first thing that they fuck with. Oh, so now you just gonna keep running it until they don't. But I feel like when Austin did something like what, right? Which that shit is played too. But when it happened, he's dead ass trolling whoever he talking to, and the fans just happen to pick up on it.
Mm-hmm. And that, it took a life on its own.
Yeah, it took a life of its own. So I don't know.
But like I said, it's like, are you with Jey Uso? Are you more than just the Yeet guy? Are you more than just the other brother?
I mean, that's like the Yeet thing is all like. Unfortunately, I don't see no. Like you said, you on your own now, but what does that entail of? Like, yeah, you trying to go after success, but
you can also argue LA Knight. Aside from what else is there?
Right now, nothing. I mean,
whereas you look at a guy like Carmelo Hayes, you look at a guy like Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov, you see a different style of personality, unfamiliar to the traditional WWE style. With Ilya and Braun, you see this unparalleled level of intensity and physicality. With Carmelo, you see a certain level of swagger and confidence you don't really see with anybody else.
I mean, I feel like Sami Zayn's another good example too. Like, why I say Sami Zayn? Bloodline shit. Like, prior to that, he was like on that weird conspiracy theory shit, which was cool, it was entertaining, but it wasn't doing nothing like real
just another
crazy.
guy.
Yeah. Then he gets in the bloodline. Now everybody feels for him. Like, we want him to have his moment. Like, I'll be honest, I was one of the few that didn't want Kevin Owens and Sami to beat the Usos. Because I felt like they was gonna do what? Hold the belts and then eventually, like they did, they lost them.
Well, again, like I said, like after they win, again, that's their lick back. They have no nothing towards the blood anymore. That's it. It's done. So you're now writing them off the story. That's why I get pissed off when I see Kevin Owens still involved in the bloodline. You already had your lick back. You're done.
And then kept Sami Zayn again. Flavor of the month. Like, you know what I'm saying? He got his just due. Now we want to see what he could do as a single. Like, wow, bro, we've seen him with the belt before.
And it's like we know what you can do. It's just, why are you going back to the well after that well is already run dry?
Mm-hmm.
Like that one specifically, because again, he still mentioned, like the last promo, he had to mention the stuff with the bloodline. He had to mention Jay stepping away from the bloodline, and he tied that in with Otis and everyone else leaving. But it's like, again, why call back to that? It's done. All you had to say is, when the time comes, they'll know when to leave. Plain simple.
And I mean, like, sometimes too, it's hard because it's probably not their fault. But like, we know, we see the potential in certain guys early, right? And then like the fans just get behind certain people. Like the whole Gable shit, they were going for him to beat Gunther. But if you knew Gable beforehand, then it was like you knew he was capable. Like the way he wrestles, he's kind of like a Kurt Angle, kind of like a throwback Olympian style kind of guy. So his character is capable. But the fans, I don't think, knew he was capable until they seen him in that match.
Well, and also that's testing because at the time when he was in NXT, the black and gold, I don't think it was as popular as it ended up growing to be. They were still in that some of the infant stages. But again, if you go back and watch it, you'll understand why many of us have such a high amount of faith in him in succeeding.
I fucked with Jason Jordan, but you know what Jason Jordan? Jason Jordan used to do some crazy shit.
And with him, he had just a couple unfortunate injuries, and then that was that.
You know what's wild too? Remember I told you I was watching the old NXT. I seen Jason Jordan on NXT, but like he had a little afro and stuff.
He had some hair.
Yeah, I was like, oh, check little Jason, they little
Yeah.
JJ out. Word though, but I mean, I guess we could transition into NXT unless you want to touch on something with WCW that we might have missed. I think we hit on everything right there.
Well, this next episode's ultimately going to culminate with Vince buying WCW. So
It should be so. There's some fun stuff here.
Is this the final episode? Will we get more? I guess we'll wait and see.
Maybe do we get Shane McMahon on here speaking?
Possibly.
I mean, we've seen the usual suspects. I feel like each episode they kind of bring in somebody new to speak. Like the first episode, we seen, I guess the main cast would be Eric Bischoff, Rock, Sullivan, Kevin Nash, right? Safe to say, Hank Goldberg.
I mean, but if aside from this being his own project, Rock's kind of got no say on any of this. That's my thing.
Yeah, he's just I look at him more like a narrator, or just giving his opinion on shit. Like,
yeah. Again, it would have been nice to hear. It'd be nice to hear from like maybe a Raven or a Perry Saturn. Hearing from Conan was nice. They probably should have brought in maybe a Disco Inferno to get his take on stuff too.
They bring in Hogan for a few tidbits, right? Well, but
I think that first
I heard
one.
him say, yeah, that first one, right? Like it was like a fucking
because it was strictly Bischoff and NWO.
I think that's the only thing we ain't talk about. That Millionaires Club versus the New Blood. We kind of spoke about Kevin Nash and getting dropped the blood on him, but that shit had legs. It's a classic tale of wrestling, but presentation wasn't there. Everybody looked like a fake NWO Millionaires Club shit going
on.
New Blood. I actually like New Blood.
Were you watching TNA around 2009, 2012 by chance?
Possibly, but not maybe consistent.
So, do you remember when TNA was doing the Main Event Mafia?
Yeah,
the exact same story, but it worked with them because again, all hands were on deck. Whereas with the WCW Millionaire Boys rendition, everyone was already like, "Oh no, you're not taking our spot," and they felt some type of way. Whereas Main Event Mafia,
shit, yeah.
Kurt Angle, Sting, Booker T, Scott Steiner, even Samoa Joe, Kevin Nash. They're just to show why they were the best and to help the younger guys. All right, this is how you get to our level.
Mm-hmm. I definitely remember that. I sent that photo of the main event Mafia. Booker T got a troll ass picture in one of those shits. Yeah, let's slide on over to NXT right here.
All right.
We start off with the 25-man battle royal, man. Just remember, they said last week we're gonna have people from different companies, different locker rooms. Frankie Kazarian.
We technically got 3 locker rooms. WWE, NXT, and TNA.
Okay.
Now they announced Garza, Carrillo, Dragon Lee as the WWE locker room. There were some guys in there from NXT / Level Up, and we had 2 TNA participants: the Heavy Metal Rebel TNA original Frankie Kazarian and Mr. We Believe Joe Hendry. They opened the show. Well, first they opened the show, I believe, with your boy, the Young OG, making his entrance, coming on in. They pan out to get the whole crowd, whatever you got booking, and bro, in the very end, cue Joe Hendry's music. That place erupts. Cuts a very passionate promo on his representation with TNA and what he plans to do. He win the title, take the title back to TNA. He is the first elimination, and he's there less than 30 seconds probably. That crowd damn near pissed on the whole match after that. This was probably one of the main guys they wanted to see come over from TNA. You take him out quicker than a hiccup. Everyone is yelling out bullshit. And I guess he goes to the backstage. He cuts a little promo and all that. Gets in Shawn Michaels' face saying, I can go to any show, any locker room whenever I want. So I don't know if he's teasing a Raw or SmackDown appearance maybe, but he's basically claiming that it ain't over with him in WWE. And as the clip ends, Shawn Michaels just goes, well, I believe. There's some seeds planting.
Shawn is funny as hell.
And Shawn had the little like goofy little head nod, like, I believe.
Yep. I mean, like, I don't know, like when you got a spot like this, 25-man battle royal is different from a Royal Rumble. So it's like everybody starts off at the ring. Like there's got to be people getting thrown out.
And that's my problem with it too. The whole concept as a whole felt extremely rushed, and there were some eliminations that happened probably during the commercial break that I didn't even notice or whatever.
Came back with like fucking 8 people in the ring type shit. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
So I think the final 4 was Dragon Lee,
Spears.
No, Spears was. They thought he was out. It was.
Okay, you talking about before we get to the actual.
Yeah, it was Evans, Spears. Let's see who else was in there.
Ethan Page has never been eliminated from the match.
I'll get to that in a second, but again, the final eliminations happened. Who the fuck was it? Kazarian eliminated. Was it the Young OG he eliminated? Oh no, he was still in.
It was Kazarian, Young OG.
Not, it wasn't Tyler Bate he eliminated. Again, all this happened so fast. But Kazarian or Spears eliminated somebody to where they're like,
Dragon
he's still
Lee.
in the match.
Dragon Lee, I believe. Yeah, because Dragon Lee started climbing that top rope and the turnbuckle in the corner got thrown out from over there.
That's right.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the Young OG, Javon Evans wins the match. Again, good for him. Good moment and all that. And then
I'm be honest, if that's his finisher, I kind of don't like I don't know. It's that shit. Like if it's gonna be a kick finisher,
it's definitely a clean setup, but we'll see.
It needs a little work. He gonna get there.
Man, maybe with them busted ribs, probably could put as much torque on the presentation and selling of it. Maybe. But
It gave me
we'll get to
vibes of
that.
remember when R-Truth used to do that like quick ass like he'll spin and do like a forearm type shit. But it looked like he won't even really like connect that shit all the way just because how much
Yeah.
he's spinning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But one thing that I was very annoyed by in this match that they did touch on later in the show, thank God, was Ethan Page was never eliminated. So
See, I don't
Evans won.
like that.
Ethan Page won a 23-person battle royal. I think dude for Metaphor was also in that match. So it's not even a full 25 guys in the match. And you just ignore the fact that Ethan Page was in the match to begin with. But they did touch on it later in the show as Evans is having a conversation with Ava Raine. Ethan Page comes in like a bat out of hell. They're both talking it out, whatever. Evans goes, I'm still good for one more match. How about we wrestle in the main event?
That was tough.
Called him goofy.
What I'm afraid of here with Evans, to be honest, I'm not. See, when they throw the rocket on somebody, I'm cool, right? Like we were just saying, yeah, but now are we doing overexposure? Like we just seen him in the 25 battle royal match, just take out like literally everybody, like not everybody, but like you outlasted the 23 other competitors. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you win that match, and now you saying you're gonna fight in the main event, which I'm gonna get in a second too. Like, but continue. Feel like the overexposure is like,
yeah, and that's also one of the few things where, in hindsight, you probably want to protect the talent from themselves, because they could have very easily said Ava could have been like, no, it's not gonna be now. He's had a match. It'll be next week. Because I said so. All right, cool. We can still work with that. So again, this whole episode, I don't know what happened, but overall, everything seems like they're just kind of. I know they got a PLE coming up, but
it felt
that foot's on the gas, but a little bit too heavy.
Yeah, it felt a little counterintuitive to me in the sense of like you know how we do, chat. We jump around the whole show as we see fit, and then we kick it right back where we left off. You know what I'm saying? The main event, you like Razor just said, he offered himself to fight Ethan Page in the main event after holding his ribs. Like, I'm hurt after winning a 25-man battle royal. You're supposed to face Trick Williams in about 2 weeks. Yes.
At Heat Wave, yeah. So
and then it does no favors that you lost to somebody that lost to the champion. So now, yes, I'm rooting for you. But if you're going into the matchup with Trick Williams hurt, or if you continue to even now, this obviously going to be something with Ethan Page feeling like I should be in the match because I beat the #1 contender. Like, he thought he was cocky enough to fight me. I don't care about his injury. I taught the young buck a lesson. I should be in that match.
And this is nothing that I didn't like about their promo exchange with Ava. The purpose was, in Ethan's mind, the battle was still going. Not once did they mention that if Ethan Page beats Evans, which he ultimately did in the main event, will Ethan Page then be the #1 contender? Would it still be Evans? They didn't touch on that once.
I'm going to be honest, too. I feel like it's kind of like, this is, I don't know about you, right? But when you start watching so many hours of wrestling, you start seeing like the same continuity or like the same thing being reproduced in a sense of, aren't we seeing this with Braun Breaker, Sheamus, and Ludwig, where we don't know what happened with that Intercontinental #1 contendership? Now somebody could put their hat in the mix.
Well, I think that was a little different because that was just left in limbo, and Braun just causing a ruckus. In this case, it's like Page is more focused on him not being eliminated from the Battle Royal, so they would just have a one-on-one just to hash that out. Not once did they touch on, okay, is the winner going to be the #1 contender? No, it's going to be like a grudge match.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it might not be the same, but there's some trickery with the #1 contenders matches right now. Like, you giving me, like, I feel like I'm seeing shades of it on Raw, and now the very next night on NXT, it's like we like you said, insulting intelligence. So hold on. So if somebody ain't been eliminated from a match, you gonna tell me that fuck it, just like yo, everything is just like yo. If you get away with shit now in this day and age, it is what it is. If the ref calls it, that's what I gotta digest as a consumer, as a
Mm-hmm.
watcher right now. Ref's call is final. I don't care what we thought. It don't matter if he wasn't eliminated. That's his problem. You know what I'm saying? Like that's your problem, bro. The winner was announced as Javon Evans, so that's where we going. But to like what we saying, Ethan Page ended up winning the match tonight, Chad. So does he not have a right to say something like that? Like, yeah, I wasn't even eliminated and I beat him. What's happening?
Now, I would hope that they address that soon next Tuesday. But what I did enjoy after the match was Ethan Page gets the win. Well, the whole match, they're targeting Evans' ribs. Booker T. First off, real quick, Booker T was salty at the fact that his partner received a text from Trick Williams saying he was going to be out for commentary, and Booker just offended that he texted you. Why he didn't text me?
That's what you remember when I text you Booker, bro. That shit had me crying.
And I think Booker called Vic Joseph a snitch too. Why you texting the snitch for? Like Booker was hot.
Nah, Vic was defending himself too. He's like, nah, he's just a hater.
Yeah. So again, I love that back and forth. Like Booker and Vic have incredible chemistry.
Nah, yeah, but, they work.
But it's very interesting to see Booker T as like a heel commentator. It kind of reminds me of the early stages with JBL and Mauro Ranallo before they had their little falling out. But again, I like this pairing. But again, like after the match, Ethan Page gets into a Trick Williams, and as they're kind of jaw jacking one another, Sean Spears comes out of nowhere and starts beating the shit out of Javon Evans again. So their story is not finished yet. So then,
damn, I didn't even see that part.
Yeah, so this was right, very very close to the closing segments. So it was like a 2-minute runoff, or overrun, maybe 2 minutes, whatever. It was very brief. So Spears comes in.
They know what they're doing.
So Spears comes in. Trick Williams starts beating on Spears. Ethan Page and Spears start jumping Trick. They take him out. Javon Evans out of nowhere hits Spears and Page with a double cutter. And that's kind of how we close the show.
So that's why you were saying a fatal 4-way match.
Could be fatal 4-way. Maybe we could see a tag team match soon. Who knows?
I don't want no tag team match. But I ain't gonna lie, I hate that concept. Like, oh man, like when we just gonna like put the champion in a match with somebody else. Like, I see the little relationship him and Javon had, like, too. Like, oh yeah, I'm happy you, like, you know what I'm saying, you won. And
yeah.
You could so I could see that for sure. I'm not saying, I just don't like the concept of it. Cause again, bro, yeah, we seen it in the past, but in the past it made more sense. Two dudes with attitude. Oh, we're fighting for all the gold. Why you just putting your tag team champions in matches that's like, you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, pardon me, I said your tag team champion, your world heavyweight NXT champion. Pardon me, Trick Williams.
Well, I mean, so, I get the part who defended his boy, but I mean, just the way it all came about. In the words of Pat McAfee, this comes off as too Mickey Mouse.
I could see that, yeah, like too friendly right now, like too friendly, like again, we wanted not. We don't say we not saying we want to fucking see Trick get the shit beat out of him, but we've been saying for weeks now that like we want to see like some adversity, some development to him holding a championship, like, you know what I'm saying? You was just friends with Carmelo Hayes, so what you need another friend?
How that turn out for you?
Right, like.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm not quite sold with Trick just yet, because again, he's too much of the nice guy. He's got to have some kind of a mean streak in him.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie too. Like, and it's no knock on his work, but even when the way he's presented, like you go back, like WWE got like this whole little playlist of him and Carmelo Hayes for like an hour or two, right? Since the moment he debuted.
I'm surprised you got that much footage out of them.
Oh nah, yeah, they got a lot of good. They found the way because they're taking everything, every little backstage segment, every little time they was on TV and put that shit on there. But the first one, like the very first few, I see Carmelo, like Carmelo's playing into his heel character like a motherfucker, and Trick still look like he that smiley, nice.
That goody two shoes.
Yeah, like yo, Carmelo, chill, bro. Like, we ain't, we for the ladies, like, you know what I'm saying, like type of vibe. So, and Carmelo, like, yo, bro, like, I'm gonna get them regardless, like,
I'm about my bread.
yeah, like, you know what I'm saying, like. So I went back seeing that, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I see right now from Trick right now, especially now he dating Last Legend on screen and all like real life type shit too. So it's like, yeah, this is
And
a
we
real
have
nice guy for real.
well, all we know is that they're broken up on TV. That's all we know.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And her
take them
faction is
apart.
funky. And her faction is funky with Ethan Page.
And then
That's
that
all.
shit's still gonna circle back to because now Ethan Page is still intertwined with Trick Williams. You know what I'm saying? So
Which makes me want to double down on my hypothetical theory.
and what's that?
What if
Uh-oh.
What if Ethan Page and Lash Legend are in cahoots?
Nah.
Again, think about it. Ethan Page, Trick Williams, whether at Heatwave or at another big PLE, they're already broken up. Lash trying to drop some dead weight. Like I said, you see Trick too nice like that, too respectful. She wants some little gutter in them. She wants someone that ain't afraid to stand on some shit. Ethan's a little bit rough around the edges where he can be. She'll be like, I'm gonna give it a real man.
You painting a picture, but I ain't buying. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, again, you ain't buying because we're supposed to forget the fact that
I got it. You know why? It's not on the auction yet. Like, you know how you
Yeah.
put the painting on the auction. I gotta when I see it, and I'll be like, yeah, Razor called it. But as of right now, my mind is telling me no. You know what I'm saying?
but what's your body telling you?
My body.
And again, and for me, I love those type of twists and turns and all that because like what we say, it's the way we get there. How do we get there? So it's if that is the possible move, I'm on board for the ride of how we get there. Now, again, the way they whole split Trick and Lash up and all that on TV, a little bit strange and all that. So then that's where my brain started going to this route. I was like, okay, so maybe I'll lean towards this. And aside from Jakara Jackson, everyone else from that faction is already written off TV except like the one dude that got funked with Ethan Page.
Mm-hmm.
And Lash, she's chasing gold. Jakara Jackson's chasing gold. Everyone else, they either got a problem with Trick Williams or they got a problem with Ethan Page. So if Ethan Page gets the world title, she'd be like, all right, well, he's about his shit. He's about his money. Trick, he just too nice. He's too much of a pretty boy.
I will agree, but Trick already got the championship, and she chose to walk away while he had the championship, and still ain't do nothing. Like if she would have helped Ethan Page, like if you would have gave me this theory a week ago before the other PLE, I would have been like, oh.
I thought we were gonna get it when we got Ethan Page versus Trick Williams. I really thought we were gonna get that.
Yeah, like if you telling me that then, but now seeing that she ain't even do nothing in that match, nothing, the Aura Mensa dude keep coming out. Like, I don't know what's his deal. If they trying to elevate, if this is their way of elevating him, because like you said, that group, all I seen really is Noam Dar and Lash Legend. This is the really first time seeing Jakara. The other dude, Aura, I just see him with his pink hair just chilling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and with that particular faction, there's a whole lot of unknowns. But because of so many unknowns, it's like, can you see them even lasting the end of the year as a faction?
I honestly felt like they went over than I expected. Like when they put them together, I'm like, what significance does Lash Legend got with Noam Dog. Noam Dog getting his hair braided like he's some like dude in Soho just chilling in New York, like Val Cali, like he vibing out on his like he Americanized now. Like what was going on when this happened? Like he in the hip hop scene now. Like what? Noam Dog look like he ready to be like a 6ix9ine or something. Like what?
Noam Dar should have went full on Enzo Amore in NXT.
Bro, I thought he was on the verge, bro. I promise you, bro. I'm like,
he should have went just full on.
because this is a Noam Dog, right? This is a Noam Dog with the short hair. I remember 205 Live. Now he really different. This is different. Noam Dog
come with a fresh hairstyle, fitted, dripped out, the fresh J's, got the gold on them, the shades to match.
Word, like I was like, oh nah, Lash Legend and Aura really took this dude from whatever he was doing and really made him on some hip hop shit. Like they got him, like he gangster now. Like, okay,
could have been from the outhouse to the penthouse.
And then Noam Dog, he talented too, so it's kind of weird for him that after that whole 205 Live shit got deaded, he was able to like work on the indies a little bit, work back in the UK, still be in with WWE though, and come back with this like Heritage Cup vibe, like
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I'm still a competitor, dog. Like I'm still a. So again, that's what I'm saying.
Who the fuck I am,
right? You feel me? So Aura, I guess it's his time to shine. I guess. I guess like.
But again, like something is missing out of that faction, and again, unless it's something as extreme as like them linking up with Ethan Page, I don't see how they can elevate themselves to where they can.
What's the name of that group?
Metaphor.
It's a cool name. I could play double entendre and shit. Like I get it.
But here's the thing that I'm not really a fan of. So when they do the little hand insignia, the same thing as when Michin does her hand thing before she does the too sweet. So it's like there's no real difference in what they're doing. So I mean, what are you doing to make yourself original? You're just kind of copying what someone else doing. Unless you guys had it first, then it's kind of on Michin. But if you're both kind of like drop an M this way or whatever, and it looks damn near the same hand motions and everything, like what we doing?
And then I mean, I feel like if you onto something like whether it's with Ethan Page or not, if you're just talking about Lash Legend apart, I feel like she is the one that will be successful on her own. The others, I would have to Jakara too. She probably would because she looked good in the ring, but I feel like the other dudes like Noam Dog back to the Heritage Cup.
Noam
probably tag team like.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like that's just with the landscape, bro. Like I wouldn't mind seeing Noam Dog scrapping with Tony D'Angelo's and Stacks and all of them and Nathan Frazier in that mix. Like
Charlie Dempsey.
Yeah, like you know, they all in that mix right there. And I think remember when I said a swap was gonna happen with the Nathan Frazier, and I think we gearing towards that, bro.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, I think we gearing towards that, bro.
Lead the way with that segment.
So I had theory about, I think it was last week's episode when backstage you see the family, Tony D'Angelo, Stacks, Luca, you know what I'm saying? They all backstage and they just sitting there with the Heritage Cup. But the family, they looking at them tag team titles like, we kind of want that right there. Like there's only one Heritage Cup, but the tag team and Nathan Frazier, he's kind of...
He looking at that Heritage Cup.
Yeah, he hungry right now. He's gold hungry. He inserted himself into the Battle Royal tonight, which Axiom got mad about. And Frazier's...
But Frazier kind of clapped back and says, how come you didn't declare for it?
Nah, very smart answers.
Were you not asked as well? Like you could have declared for something. We both could have been in it.
Yeah, because now it seemed like Axiom's a little hater on the low. Like, bro, let your man live, bro. Like Nathan got bigger. Why he can't be a tag team champion with like a double champion, a Heritage Cup and a champ? Like Axiom just like, no, I want you all to myself, bro. Why you not letting me know? Like in that aspect, like, yeah. Like, if my tag team partner enters, I'll probably be salty, but I'd have been on the same time he on. Like, nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. We gotta get up in there, bro. Even if it's one of us.
Or on the flip side, you can be like, this is why we're the best. Look what he's doing. I'm holding down 2 for him. I'm rocking with him.
So I think that Axiom getting salty is going to lead to them losing if they happen to fight the family. Now, I feel like Nathan Frazier in a one-on-one type, like he could take that from Tony D or like, you know what I'm saying? Like
So
Tony D, unfortunately, I like him, but with his injuries, I think he's better suited as a tag team with Stacks.
honestly, I could see him dethroning Trick, but I'll get into that in a second. With the Nathan Frazier stuff, for the last few weeks, I've said this: his ring work, to me, it's just a Seth Rollins move for move. I want to see his physical personality. He's little by little expressing that I'm me, I'm him, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna rock my shit. So when Luca hands him that contract, Luca's not even done talking, snatches out of the way, signs it. Run it.
Doesn't even read the contract.
There could be some stipulation we don't even know about it.
Yes, y'all gotta put that to fight for this. You gotta put them tag team belts on the line.
Yep. Something we don't know. This could be, still
it
talking.
It could be Axiom banned from ringside. Like it could be anything.
It could be once the bell rings, like you said, the tag title is automatically vacated. Something.
Whoa.
So snatches it. Here.
Nah, that's family moves right there. Like vacate right when the bell rings.
Like I said, the boss moves. We call them the shots. This is the Don. So they're gonna pull up on Nathan. You stupid motherfucker! Why didn't you read?
Nah, for real, because there was something telling about that. Like, bro, in life, they tell you don't just sign a contract. Don't just put your John Hancock on anything, bro. He just give me the pen, man. Axiom looked at him like,
"The fuck's he doing?"
Even wearing a mask, you could kind of like you could
tell him look at him like, huh?
Like what the fuck? It's gonna be interesting to see where that goes too, because I don't know when they decide how long they're gonna keep the family down there. But again, I feel like Tony D, he should be as a tag team. I like him and Stacks for real. As a singles competitor, like you know, as long as the injury bugs don't continue to harm him, he should be all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had a theory about him dethroning Trick Williams. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I feel anybody could dethrone Trick Williams.
Oh yeah, that's the flip side of the problem too. Because again, it's how Trick is portraying himself and how he's being permitted to portray himself.
Yeah, like if the right heel comes along and really, like, come on, bro, they're gonna scoop that right up off him. He got no help. He got no like just me being a good guy with my I'm gonna fight clean throughout the whole match. It's kind of in that Cody territory a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. So Tony D'Angelo just turned 29.
That's not bad. He's still young, but that one injury that it was like 2 that he had got, maybe 3.
Yeah, and there are a couple of knee injuries. I remember that, something like that.
That's the rough part too.
And that's 250, 260 pounds on a 6-foot frame. That's a lot of meat.
And then the wrestling style, like when you go to the main roster, you picking up guys like Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, the dudes is even Seth Rollins. He's like what 210. He don't look like
maybe 220, 230. He's a little bit taller, maybe.
You feel me? Like that's still a lot. Like now they train to do shit like that, but come on, that's wear and tear. This is how these dudes be getting these injuries to begin with. It's like your ACL muscles are the tendons, they're like a rubber band. You know what I'm saying? Wear and tear. You never know when they're gonna go. It could be a freak accident.
Moolah, fire away. Fire away.
I probably said some crazy shit. What was plausible, bro?
Lay it on us.
What Moolah ain't letting us live. He came through from the trenches, from the shadow realm. Like
one of us set him off.
Man, pause. Like
we're waiting.
What was the offense, man?
We're waiting. Don't be shy now.
For real, man. Nah, them injuries though, those Jones be real for real, man. Like That's why I think like Cesaro was like a hidden gem when he was early on. He said, "Nah, not you, Razor."
HD, what you
let
say,
me
Razor?
know,
What you
man. I'll
say?
welcome your thoughts. I'll welcome your thoughts, Moolah. The host ain't exempt. You know what I'm saying? The host is not exempt.
Maybe we're saying you said anybody could beat Trick. But again, with Tony D'Angelo, again, stay healthy. Sky's the limit. X on the mic. He's got a solid look, whatever. A great gimmick, especially with his faction, the family. That could easily. It might take a while, but it could probably work on the main roster as well. At least him and Stacks.
Nah, for sure. Like I could even see him and LA Knight going at it back and forth on the like, bro. Him and LA Knight on the microphone would be crazy. Like that.
A lot of meat.
The...
He said a lot of meat is crazy. I'm crying.
Wow, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? That's a lot to pick up right there. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's a lot, Moolah. Yo, how you felt like? Look, we spoke about this probably a few months ago with the Ridge Holland stuff. They gave him this false retirement angle. Now he's in Chase U.
I don't know how I feel about this. I legitimately don't. Again, me personally, I thought Chase U would have disbanded a long fucking time ago. I'm at a loss for words with this. Thea Hall probably should have been a women's champion by now, or probably a women's tag team champion on the main roster with somebody. She is that talented. Why is she still with them right now?
Mm.
The women's rosters have never been this deep. Why is she still in the fold with them?
They don't even really.
We said the same thing about Ivy Manal in the Diamond Mine, and her and Jordan Grich are calling for a shot at the women's tag titles or the Knockouts tag titles in TNA. What's Thea Hall doing?
Chase U actually went over tonight too. Out this backstage segment, we get the OC.
That was a very interesting finish too, because unless you're like sitting there at Full Sail, we don't know what exactly Ridge Holland did. If he grabbed the trunks, pulled the rope, whatever, to get more leverage on the pin, we don't know what he did. But Holland knows. And what's the dude that pinned Anderson? What was his name? The big guy?
Duke Hudson.
Yeah, he knows what happened. But no one else knows what happened. What went down? But I thought that was very clever camera placement when they did that too. It's like, we don't know.
Yeah, they definitely had that moment that was kind of crazy in terms of like the match just finished, and you know what I'm saying?
And Carl Anderson was kind of season A. He grabbed the trunk. He did something, whatever. So again, great shock value, whatever. But again, what did he do? On the flip side, I'm sick and tired of the Good Brothers losing. Now, are we waiting?
I'm with you there. And then they losing on NXT too. It's not even like,
everywhere. But it's like, I mean, I get it. They're trying to help elevate Chase U, but it's like, are we waiting to put them back with AJ and Finn? Well, what are we waiting for? Because they're doing this with Chase U. They're with them two. Anderson and Gallows are with AJ on SmackDown. Meechan's doing her own show on SmackDown, getting tossed around by Nia Jax and shit. Well, what are we doing?
That's another thing too. We had Meechan. Probably we thought we'll see her like maybe get a moment tonight. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't think they were going to take the belt off of Kalani this soon.
I didn't think that this shit was going to be a straight interference either too. So it's like it was kind of like, I don't know. It was one of those like cool match, I guess.
I mean, I said the match was fine. Once the Good Brothers came in, I was like, I kind of didn't want to see this.
Yeah, the OC down in NXT. I'm gonna be honest. I thought I was gonna enjoy their run down there. Like I'm not really like I don't know if they not with AJ Styles. Sometimes it just really like I don't know, man.
Like I said, there's something missing.
It's that dominance. Like they need to be able to go on a little like troll run. Like nah, we out here fucking shit up. Like
I said, you got to give them some wins. Let them get their hands
yeah.
dirty.
Like even Shinsuke, right? That everything on the internet is he's like 2-39 for this year and shit like that. We don't even see him on TV.
Yeah, I was seeing him on a PLE or on Raw or SmackDown this year. No, I'm not counting. I'm not counting the video packages. Like, I was seeing him in the ring.
Not that I know of. I mean,
yeah.
I think the only last time I remember seeing him was on Ilya's debut, and Ilya won.
That, and then aside from that, what the Cody stuff, which was probably last year.
Right, and then the only Cody stuff we was getting when Cody became champion, he's defending against Shinsuke overseas or some dumb shit. Remember, he was defending against Shinsuke in London in the O2 Arena or some shit.
I get, yeah.
Another match that was kind of weird to me tonight was the tag team. Again, we get this triple threat like tag team bullshit where like you got Jakara Jackson, Lash Legend versus JC Jane, Jasmine Nix, Roxanne Perez, Lola Vice. This is to my point earlier where I was saying like maybe watching so much hours of it, you start seeing the repetition because I feel like we just seen this.
I mean, also if you think about it, going back to even the setup for the Women's North American Championship, this group of women, even with Roxanne Perez, who's the Jordan Grace stuff, we've been seeing them nonstop in the same stuff over and over. So I think it's leaning towards the oversaturation portion. I did not want to see. I did not care for this match at all. All 6 women are talented, but you had a 6-man match that's solely derived around Lola Vice versus Roxanne Perez.
Yep.
There was no point in the other 4 women being there.
We knew that this partnership wasn't going to last long. We knew that, Roxanne was on with Tomlin. You know what I'm saying?
And then one thing that I laughed at was the closing moments of that match. Roxanne tries to go for that spinning back fist, and I think it barely catches Lola under her chest. And it's supposed to be like a headshot. Like, if you're Lola, I wouldn't have sold. I would have stood there being like, that's the best you got? That would have did more than her dropping and smiling at her.
It just appeared weird, too, because, again, I'm on the selling side, right? So she gives her this vicious discus clothesline. It looked tough, or whatever you want to call it, forearm discus. Nailed her with that shit. Boom. And then Lola, right? Like she kind of sold it. Like she really didn't expect her to like kind of hit her that hard.
Well,
like,
she looked at her just laughing at her damn near.
Right, and then that motion made Roxanne give her extra kick that kind of looked even more weird. Like it's like a mush kick. Like
yeah. So again, what they could have done on the flip side was again she goes for that. Lola just eats it, looks at her like, "What we doing?" And then Roxanne does like the old school chicketry. He'll be like, I was just bullshitting. We just fuck around, blah, blah. We're still friends, right? And then just bounce. That would have got more mileage, my opinion. But, yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah, because in theory, what's stopping her from getting up and whipping Roxanne's ass?
Yeah.
Like she's selling the attack already, like sitting up,
and Lola's not that much taller than Roxanne, I believe. So if it's supposed to be like a spinning back fist, supposed to aim up here, why is the punch down here? Like
she's they giving her the MMA vibes. She could have easily did a double leg takedown from that position.
Mm-hmm.
Let them scrap some more even at the end of the match.
Or even then, like as they're turning around, whatever, celebrating, hit her with the belt in the back of the head, something. There was a multiple things you could have done that would have serve the this particular program a little bit better.
Yeah, I wasn't digging that right there. We spoke about everything else in between. Obafemi, right? This is where I was calling for it. I'm like, yo, I'm an Obafemi fan, but tonight I feel like along with finding yourself, sometimes you might be doing too much, and this is that tweener shit I was talking about. It's that tweener shit, like he coming out doing a little bounce, you know what I'm saying, like a little. And it's like, bro, the first few times I seen you, you was playing no games, straight to business, no games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like you turning into the crowd. The crowd got a little chant for you every time you say something.
He needs a mouthpiece. Make
I'm not
him
gonna
feel
lie.
like
What
make him like
happened with
a
Hadley
monster.
Stoke? With Hadley,
So
Stokely, yeah.
he's still with Chris Statlander in AEW.
Why he left NXT? Because I thought he was good over there. Like
Vince.
Mm.
That was Vince and his random budget cuts. That's all it was.
my boy Michael Bivens.
And that was Malcolm
Malcolm?
Bivens.
Man, come on, man.
But again, I mean, Obafemi is talented, whatever. He's fine, but if you give him a mouthpiece like a Stokely Hathaway, maybe potentially a Leo Rush, maybe an MVP, something like that, treat him like the monster he should be. He shouldn't have to be going word for word with somebody. But what I did find interesting was once Wesley came out and basically told him it's not over between us, there was a very faint scuffle in the back, the very top seats or whatever, Full Sail, right behind Oba's right shoulder. So there was a little scuffle going on. I see the security jumped up guardrail, go up there. The fans are kind of trying to figure out what's going on. Some folks are saying that was our boy Brooks Jensen. Some saying it could have been maybe a Wyatt 6 beatdown. Some were suspecting something else. We don't know.
Boy, Brooks Jensen be added out there. I ain't gonna lie, he funny as hell because it's like they really doing some like blurring the lines right there for the folks. Like, some people like, oh, what's going on? Like, they don't want to show him who is he. You know what I'm saying? So that's good work right there. What they doing with Brooks? If that was him up there. Wesley came out to challenge Obafemi. I didn't even care, bro. At this point, like, I'm be honest with you, like.
So I'm trying to see who Brooks Jensen was. It wasn't him, but I'm trying to see who was beaten up on. Yeah, because I said the whole crowd stopped for this when it happened, and all you saw was just the silhouette of the scuffle and from the lighting.
I think one of the most entertainment segments that came out this whole show for me, Charlie Dempsey backstage with the Tavion dude that was in a match with Eddie Thorpe last week.
Well, Tavion Mitchell, something like that.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm like, yo, he look all right. So it definitely boosted mine to see him in the backstage segment. And Charlie's over here trying to recruit him. And Tavion's like, all right, I'm in. And Charlie's like, he giving him the vibes like, what? Like, you're a hard bargain. Like, nah. Next week, you in a match with Kemp. So it was like, he already said he's in. And he's acting like he's negotiating it, like he's fighting it. Like, bro, it was just it was good. It was good stuff, dude. Chap, y'all ain't see that? Go try to rewind that back, find it on social. It was a nice little clip. I like seeing Charlie Dempsey's like character keep evolving. Each week it just gets some new stuff from him.
And then I love that they're kind of playing off the fact that one of his guys is actually deaf in real life, and they're kind of incorporating that in the character. Like, why don't you tell me he was here?
Man.
But again, like Dempsey, I've been saying it for a while. That man's got box office written all over him. The charismatic enigma in his presence, just like his father.
Nah, that's a fact, though. They gonna have big things for him lined up too. I'd be surprised to see him get a real good push soon too. Especially like I wouldn't even mind to see him versus Obafemi too. Like give us something fresh, something different.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
I seen Wesley around the North American Championship. My whole NXT career watching him like that
But
shit is great, bro.
Dempsey and the no quarter catch, who they're picking their shot. So it's like we'll get there. Just
Hmm.
don't worry.
I mean Fallon Henry went over tonight. I didn't even catch the
The match
girl
was
she was
alright.
going to.
It was alright. I mean, again, I think a lot of these women we're seeing them over and over. I mean, at least it'd be nice if they kind of mixed it up soon, because the only two main stories with the women are who's gonna face Roxanne Perez, which is gonna be Lola Vice, and you have was it Ariana Grace and Sol Ruka that are gonna be in a number one contenders match next week for Kalani Jordan.
Mm.
So yeah, Fallon claimed that she should have been the champion and all that, and yet her, JC Jane, and Jasmine Mix kind of like maybe plotting something to kind of get one of themselves in the mix for a title soon. We could be seeing a little mini unison there for a minute, but time will tell.
And then right past all of that, we got to that main event we were just talking about. Devon Evers, Ethan Page. We gave our thoughts on that. You want to just like give any more thoughts on that fatal four you talking about? Like
But
any
but
theory on
again,
that?
just Javon Evans, one very very impressive young man. Just learn how to take care of yourself and just keep putting that work in.
I feel like NXT is kind of like they got moments where like I want to say the the go home show to Battleground was definitely like okay, you know what I'm saying. Then last week was the Cody coming down, you know what I'm saying. Trick Williams invited him to the cookout, but trying to include everybody into like I think like they got a lot going on. Like there's really no single feud right now. I think that I see like everybody with
For the men,
for everybody. Like the only thing that's clear cut that I feel like is maybe two things from the men. But then you could be argued that it's still got other shit lingering
I can think of one.
for the men.
Yeah, it's not a good one, but I can think of one.
Go ahead.
Lexus King and your boy Dante Chen.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that shit is still even a thing. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah,
I said it's not a good one.
yeah. Cause like if you telling me Ethan Page still got unfinished business with Trick, but then now, like you said, these
Sean
other
Sean Spears is unfinished business with Javon Evans. Yes, you can argue Obafemi and Wesley.
until
Everybody else is
Gallus
just
comes in, feels like because I feel like well, what happened with that now too, right? Like, didn't Gallus take the win last week, or did Wesley and
Gallus took the win.
so now Wesley just comes out and
I honestly wouldn't be mad if Gallus jumps to the main roster by SummerSlam, either before, a little before, or right after. Wouldn't be mad at that because, like we said before, one, both rosters are kind of hurting for heels, but two, they're hurting for tag teams as well. And that's one quality tag team you can probably put on either brand. But yep, I can see them with the gold.
so do you put them anywhere near Sheamus?
I want to say yes, but I also want to say no because of the fact that you're not going to turn Sheamus heel anytime soon. It's probably impossible at this point.
Mm.
He's got that certain resume about him. Like he's certified. Now I could see a world where they pair them up with Drew, and Drew has these Gallus boys just running a rough shot. on Drew's behalf. I can see something like that maybe down the line. They're just beat up on Punk for a minute, but I think Gallus is probably better off doing their own thing.
They're gonna have to go beat up the LWO or Legato. They'll have to start with them. Work their way up to the Judgment Day or something.
Could be.
Throw them on Raw.
Yeah, definitely on Raw, because Raw needs the tag teams more than SmackDown right now. And also, how much fun would it be to watch the Coffee Brothers versus AOP? Wolfgang versus Ilya Dragunov. Wolfgang versus Braun Breaker.
Shit can happen. Shit can happen. Do you feel like, let me see, because I think my what kind of clouds my thoughts at times is we got this draft shit now. So we gotta wait for the draft for people to get called up.
No.
Okay.
When they did the draft, and they also announced that they will do a periodic shakeups and all that. There's still folks that are free agencies. They're still going to do their usual call-ups around certain parts of the year. The draft is just the draft. And with everybody going to their own respective networks soon, I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see the draft for a long while. We'll just see the usual call-ups and stuff like that, and just random people going from bouncing from show to show.
Kind of like what we seen before WrestleMania, when we seen Braun Breaker signing a SmackDown, Jade signing a SmackDown.
We might see more of that to make NXT seem like an actual bigger deal as we continue to build level up to what it could be.
Now I wouldn't be mad at that, because I also was like, I wanted that to mean something. Remember when I was saying the brands, like when they sign people, make it like y'all fighting for the right to the next hottest free agent, like, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Do you think NXT should create a concept such straightforward that like, oh, there's a kind of tournament or some kind of thing that you can earn or win that just takes you to the main roster?
You can, what's wrong with converting the Heritage Cup into that? Say if you hold the Heritage Cup for a full calendar year or whatever, or if you're the person that holds it at the end of the year, like what New Japan did was King of Pro Wrestling. If you hold it for the end of the year, you're that year's champion officially. But with Heritage Cup, you can say that by this point in time, if you are the holder of this cup, you're on the main roster.
Yeah, you could jump through the loops and just skip class, go right up to the next grade.
You could do something like that. Adds more significance and prestige to the Heritage Cup, but also you got to be careful of who you have in the mix on top of it. You don't want to like pigeonhole yourself too soon either, or just pass it around everybody.
Yep. And like you said, though, it's not really like so, because they have to win if under what you said, they have to have it for a year. So you could bounce that shit around if you want. That you have to hold it for a year.
Like you could do an initial tournament in January, maybe another tournament in the summertime, and then around November, December, you can start wiring down. Hey, remember, if you're this champion, you go into Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, because I think that I don't know what's their like how they do things, but I think we often see, oh, when he drops the NXT championship, he's getting called up. Oh, they dropped that's the indicator, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that was more commonly what we knew.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see them do something different like that. Like you earned your right, like you dead ass. There's a different lane. Like everybody got a different lane in life for something. Some people made it to the NBA through the G League. They went undrafted. They ain't have the luxury of being.
Back in the day, some went right out while they were still in high school. Look at Braun.
Right out of high school. Yeah, like
Kendrick Perkins.
Straight out of overseas.
But again, just there's ways they can make it more significant. It's just much like as we joke with AEW, just commit to it.
I think the way that WWE highlights stuff, and they always find a way to finesse, just the same way they find a way to like disearn our trust. they find ways to get the credibility back with certain things. Like, for example, whenever they do a Royal Rumble, you know what I love about a Royal Rumble? The historical facts they give us right before the pay-per-view, the match,
Like
the
X many people
numbers.
won from this. So and so's won from this number. No one's won from this number.
It makes the
So,
whole thing.
Brock has the most eliminations in a single Rumble. Kane's got the most all time.
Bro,
Austin's
bullshit.
the only one to win it 3 times.
It was 1 year. I think it was the year Roman Reigns had to defend it. I was going entering by like keeping log of okay, he came out 1, 2, 3 in my notepad, and then who they eliminated also. Like I was really like keeping like just because it was fun to me, just to like, oh, that nah, they went crazy with the numbers, and it made me want to do my own little numbers over here. And it was funny because that year that I was doing that, Roman Reigns controversial broke the record because remember he threw out El Torito, and I think it was just El Torito was like the half.
You counting that 40-man Rumble? Because a lot of folks aren't counting that, and then on top of that, you have
the one that we just
and then you have the Saudi show, the greatest Royal Rumble.
Saudi shit don't count. Saudi's like us. We just turned on 2K24 and we booked the Royal Rumble match with.
So would the same go with that
green championship? Like
would the same go with that 40-man one too? Since it was a one-time deal.
The 41 counts because we ain't gonna sniff like, oh, like I don't know who won and from what number, but and how long the match went. But let's just say the match went a little bit longer than the 30-man Royal Rumble match. We can't just like, oh no, I don't count because it's not a 30-man. Maybe if you told me it was a 20-man Royal Rumble, I'd be like, yeah, nah, we can't count that, bro. We can't count 20-man Royal Rumble. But the 40, it's debatable. It's debatable. If somebody wanna like, if people feel like that broke tradition, you know what I mean? Like,
let's see, when was the 40-man Rumble? 2016. That would have been.
Did it fluff some people's numbers? Did it fluff some people's numbers? Yeah. But then again, we seen a year in the 30-man Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar came in and threw out like 8 people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, entering at number 38 in the 2011 Royal Rumble, which was the 40-man Rumble at the TD Garden, it was won by Alberto Del Rio.
At number 38, he had an easy day in the park right there, low key.
Let's see how
probably
long
put in like 15 minutes in the match, if that.
The match in total was 1 hour and just basically 1 hour 10 minutes, so a usual Rumble. And he last eliminated Santino Marella.
So yeah, I could see why it bothered people. You know what I mean? Like, if it bothered people, yeah, there's a lot of fluff going on. If you care about the numbers, there's extra 10 people getting thrown out for no fucking reason.
Mm-hmm.
The match didn't go on any longer. We had Shawn Michaels and Rey Mysterio in this bitch for an hour. Bailey, right? Was it Bailey? Gunther, Cody. Well, what's the extra 10 minutes for?
So, number 1 and 2 in this Rumble was CM Punk and Daniel Bryan.
Wow, they really tried to. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. Vince was really like, I'm gonna piss on y'all right now. I'm gonna give y'all 40-man Royal Rumble, and I'm gonna put y'all 2 favorite dudes out, number 1 and number 2. So it's a real uphill battle. Like,
it had Diesel in the match, Booker T in the match, Chavo Guerrero, Husky Harris, William Regal, Great Khali, Mason Ryan, John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, Ezekiel Jackson. Randy Orton entered at number 39, and Kane came in at number 30.
Who came in at number 30?
At number 30?
No, my bad. I thought you said number 30.
No, Kane came in at 40.
Oh, 40.
And it took 4 guys to eliminate Mark Henry and the same 4 guys to eliminate John Morrison. Alberto lasted 9.5 minutes in the match. Let's see. Chris Masters lasted just under 2 minutes. CM Punk spent the most time in the Rumble at 35 minutes, 21 seconds. And CM Punk alongside John Cena had the most eliminations that year with 7 apiece. Peak Vince. What you researching? We got breaking news.
No, I was just looking at what Bray and Taylor sister Mika had said about their debut yesterday. You seen it?
Yeah, I think I sent it to you guys a little earlier on Twitter.
Okay, yeah. I was just seeing it now. So
yeah, because I was surprised that some more. I mean, so there's certain like I get some were calling them AEW diehards that were kind of trashing it. One guy was kind of going at it with literally everybody, stating basically claiming that also Bray wanted to die and let this bullshit carry on type deal. And the same guy, I guess, I'm not gonna say his name, but supposedly someone on Twitter got a hold of his employer. His employer saw the stuff he was posting, and he lost his job.
damn.
Supposedly, but he's blaming it on a WWE fan or whatever. It's like,
hey, we were just having this conversation right before we came on.
Don't say dumb shit on Twitter.
Yeah, bro. If y'all ready to walk a certain line on the internet, just know your consequences. Like, don't act stupid. Like, you know, like if you don't got your page private, if your shit is public, if you're writing on other people's shit where they can see your replies, that's you, bro. And then I mean, I'm not calling for somebody to lose their job because that's above too. But now, if you being a bad representative of your job, like I'm pretty sure there's certain jobs that's like, yo, that dude's beliefs doesn't reflect on our company.
And also, there's a possibility, which could be likely, depending on, again, he could have been doing this while he was on the clock too. And they'll say, "Well, we're paying you to do this. Why are you doing this?"
Correct.
But I know I mentioned this to you earlier. Bully Ray had some very interesting comments on Bust Up regarding the debut of Wyatt 6.
Yeah, talk to me.
So again, nothing that was too heinous or whatever. His concern was because of the introduction or whatever, like we touched on this last night. They're inching close to that very fine line of making it too much just like the Wyatt family. And also his other concern was what we had with the Fiend. Once you put him in the ring, how do you make that look like an actually good match as opposed to the old Supernatural stuff to where you punch him and then they just no-sell it or whatever, or the stuff we got with that famous Red Hell in the Cell match.
Now, I'm going to say this. I don't know what was his opinions prior to this, but this is that fickle shit that I'm talking about. None of them thoughts came across my head because we all wanted this.
Well, no, again, he was fine with it, but it's just you have to be very careful with certain routes you take, because if you go a certain way, the first thing folks are going to say is, well, this is what we were saying with the not so subtle side of the Fiend. This is stuff that is a direct copycat of the old Wyatt family. So, but also at the same time,
they pick and choose. Not just saying Bully, because Bully's obviously who he is. He's a lot of knowledge in the game. But when the Undertaker's doing this, and I'm talking about early on Undertaker, like Like when Vince presents him in Survivor Series, they all like when like yeah, you could say he paid his dues elsewhere and stuff like that, running the circuits. But when he just came in, people like he had to sit up. You know what I'm saying? He's no selling shit too. Like it's just
and also his other again, he was on board with all of it, but it's once we get all this stuff situated and it's time for them to get into the ring, that's where it's going to get, unfortunately, very challenging for them because, again, are you going to keep them undefeated forever? Are you going to just have to do certain situational, not so much cinematic matches, but how are we going to make it work once you kind of put them out in the audience in the ring?
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but because Bray never had the physique of the Undertaker or Kane, I think nobody wanted to buy into him being indestructible. They more looked at him more like a Mankind, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, which I respect that. And why can't it be that?
But again, you look at most of the matches when he was strictly the Fiend and how kind of like wonky those matches kind of got. Like with Alexa Bliss, above that Jack in the Box type deal when he had that match with Randy Orton, whatever, to like I said, that Hell in the Cell match, or certain matches that are just like we weren't sure if it was Bray just being hard-headed or if it was Vince doing the Vince move. We weren't sure. But because we saw what we saw out of those matches particularly, Bully is concerned that old habits die hard. That's the last thing you want out of this faction because it can be something very special. And you want to be very careful how you treat it and with a certain level of respect.
We said this right after shit came off the air, right? I asked you, do we want to see them in the ring right away? And the answer is no because of that. But it's not because we're afraid to not see them sell. It's because this is a special act right here. This is an act reminiscent, but more so in depth of along the lines of Undertaker Kane. Like when Kane first came in, it was hard to really put him against somebody else. You really just had him running the block with Undertaker, Mankind, and if Shawn was accepting Austin, but that's where Kane was at with the select group.
Yeah. So he used Nikki Cross and Dexter Lumis as specific examples, and with them he was stating, okay, so say they take the mask off, like we touched on yesterday, like you can do the face paint stuff or some other stuff to try to more personalize the characters that they're portraying. You could do that. But if it's just take the mask off and it's just Nikki Cross's face, everyone's going to know it's Nikki Cross. Everyone's going to know it's Dexter Lumis. Like, what are you going to do to personalize these characters further in depth aside from just the mask to where folks don't go, okay, she was a superhero not too long ago. She was this not too long ago. Dexter was just this, blah, blah, blah. Rowan is probably the only exception because he already has the history with the group as itself. So that's the easy one. But you have like Nikki Cross already established, Joe Gacy to a degree already established, Bo Dallas to a degree already established, Dexter Lumis to a degree established. Like, what are we going to do to make this run vastly different from how they've previously been portrayed in WWE? And again, it's a
valid question, but it's a question that also I feel like has to be answered with time. Like, we can speculate, and
that's the thing. You don't want to rush this. That's what I said. Like, I get where he's coming from. I understand where he's coming from. And all we can hope is, as of right now, from this first impression, that they're do everything right by it. You got to let it take its time. But it's one of those, once the time when we do get them in the ring.
I'm going to be honest, too, with all love and respect. Rest in peace to Umaga. Was people just in there fucking Umaga up? No, nigga, he's the Samoan bulldozer, bro. Like, come on. Sometimes when you have acts that, and I know it's different because we talk like Samoan bulldozer and horror, but my point is the dominance of selling. Like, if an actor should not be touched, then don't book him against the top talent if you don't want it to go a certain way.
Okay, I'll dive further down that rabbit hole. Look at what ultimately happened with Retribution versus what could have happened. That's kind of where folks are getting a little concerned about. How do we go with this?
I think, the Retribution stuff had legs too. It just, the combination of y'all pulling a false finish on us. Y'all had people putting in work under mask that weren't the people that when y'all revealed or whatever y'all did, those weren't the people we were seeing in backstage vignettes, wilding all over the place. So it gave us like, hold on, what are y'all doing? Like you just said, like, what are y'all doing here? But this is a little bit more we know the components, and I think people want to be sold. Kind of like what you're saying with the retribution. People want to be sold. Why should we be invested into this? But we ask for these type of moments, the cryptic messages. If people didn't like cryptic messages and shit like that, why y'all going looking up the QR code? You know what the hell it was leading to.
And then I chime back to that infamous cage match. I think it was Seth Rollins and The Fiend, where Hell in the Cells traditionally no disqualification, right? Usually,
that right there should have ended how it ended, but with a pinfall.
Well, yeah, but instead we got Seth busting out the Fiend's over animated hammer, whatever. He's threatening to swing it, and the ref calls the match already. It's like it's a no DQ match. What are we doing here? Yeah. So stuff like that. That's where folks, again, much like how we talked with Snake the other day, like us as fans were preconditioned to the event stuff, so we're pre-traumatized. It's like we don't want that go down that road again. We know what good can come of this. As I'm saying, they're leaning towards a very fine line.
No, I get it, and that's my problem. That people want to just accept the good. In the timeline, we have to accept the good and the bad, whether we want to accept it or not. People just want to dissect the good moments and just remove the bad moments, bro. Sometimes we have to get to the bad moments to get to the good moments. Unfortunately, like every moment can't be a home run, bro. Our favorite batters ain't gonna hit a home run. Steph Curry not hitting every 3 in all 82 games of the season, bro. There's gonna be some misses. Unfortunately, like, and I think when people get comfortable with that, as long as it's not a trend, like, oh, nah, this is a complete shit show. I think that's what people are afraid of. Yeah. But
that's definitely what they're worried about.
But it hasn't been that. It's been like there's things that they love, and then there's things that they hate. They loved when they got Alexa Bliss, but like you said, they hated that whole little spinning the wheel and the whole black ink shit. To fuck up Bray, kind of like through it all. You know, there was a lot going on, but there was shit that people liked, and then there was shit that people didn't like.
Yeah, and again, the stuff that we didn't like we said, those were very easy fixes. Now, again, that could have been Bray been his own way. It could have been Vince being Vince. We'll never know. But again, us as fans are trusting Triple H to try to understand the good with the good, the bad with the bad, and I'm sure Bo understands that too. So again, you gotta be very careful with certain things that they do.
Were you bothered more by, or you might not have been bothered, but that moment when he was just coming out with the sweater and stuff, like he's the Firefly Funhouse Bray before the Fiend, or when he's not the Fiend?
When we first got the Funhouse?
Yeah.
Me personally, I was willing to give it a chance because I've seen how creative Bray can be. And like I said, when he came back, like I said before then, he was doing stuff with Rob Zombie, so I already anticipated some type of shenanigans. So I was going to get willing to give it a chance. I loved the majority of the Firefly Funhouse stuff. Not a big fan of the Funhouse match with Cena, but it is what it is.
Because I felt like that one, to me, people gave the Fiend hell, but I feel like losing to the Firefly Funhouse Bray, out of all of the Brays you can lose to, was probably the one that's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, this should be the beatable Bray right here.
Yeah. And the reason why I was willing to give it a chance was I'm a big fan of the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Two personalities, almost, or like Two-Face in the DC universe. Like, which personality are we going to get? Whatever. Two different people, two different personalities, two different entities as a whole. So I was a big fan of how we were going to go about that. But again, it came down to Bray's creativity and Vince being Vince. Much like we saw in the documentary, that's what it boiled down to. Folks thought that Bray was too set on his ways, which could have been a possibility, but also it's like this man is exuberating his creativeness. Are you guys spitballs to bounce some ideas off him to get the gears going even further, or are you just saying, no, we're not doing that? Because there's two ways to have a conversation. It's either you're just spitballing ideas back and forth, or someone comes with one idea and whether it's good or bad, you return with either yes or we're not doing that.
I just feel like if WWE really gonna go down this angle, you can't be afraid to sell shit. First example, Gable shouldn't just be allowed to come back to television next week. All right, all right, all right. Let's say we know he's not dead, y'all. Let's not act crazy, right? We know, all right. Obviously, he's not RIP'd, right? Like we know that.
Have him bandaged up or something.
And then even past that, concussion protocol, that's not a thing. We can't even play that into like a damn, like, you know what I'm saying? At least like, yo, you got to take a week off, bro. You got dinged up, you got a concussion.
And then Gable can tell Pierce, I'm not missing this opportunity. Give me some type of like fit test. I'll pass the test right now. Hashtag up something.
But to have the talent come back like nothing, just resume storyline after showing man slumped, that can hurt the storyline to me before they even get in the ring.
Yeah, and that comes down to insulting the intelligence. But like I said, let's see how they go with it. Like I said, there's a lot of ways that can go right, but depending on how they maneuver this ship, some stuff could fall by the wayside, and then most of the fans are going, "Oh, here we go again. This ain't gonna work." So again, like it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this.
My only issue I felt like with the Fiend at the time, if there was any, was that it was kind of like I don't want to say burying talent, but he was going up against people that were hot at the moment. Seth Rollins was hot. Braun Strowman was hot.
Should the Fiend, as the Fiend, have contested for the title as opposed to bringing Bray Wyatt?
Not so soon. Not so soon. We didn't see
no. I'm saying just even just the Fiend in general versus Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt for the title, yes.
The Fiend, I say no.
The Fiend got to earn that too, just like any other superstar. The Undertaker earned it. Kane earned, like, even though it was a year later, it wasn't straight right away. Like, just because you was Bray Wyatt and, like, you know what I'm saying? Boom. Now you the undefeatable. Like, Undertaker still had to build that credibility, you know, even though they skyrocketed him too, because it was such a new thing at that time. But again, when we seen it and it's being presented,
did Bray win the chamber? Did Bray win the chamber as Bray or as the Fiend?
I think he beat Braun Strowman as the Fiend in that swamp match. I could be mistaken though.
I'm talking about when he was in the Elimination Chamber match when he won. Was he as Bray or was he did
Bray?
We get the Fiend yet? Okay,
Bray. When he won his first championship, that he was.
Yeah, that might have been the chamber match.
Yeah, Bray. Yeah.
But again, like with the Fiend as itself, you could have treated that much like Finn Balor with what we had NXT with the Demon or in Japan. That's don't bring that out for just anything. Let Bray do his own thing and be like, just build towards the Fiend coming out. For example, with New Japan, with TJP, he's adopted something very similar towards his Filipino heritage called the Oswong. So it's almost like a demon type deal. Throughout the Super Series, he was building up towards that to where, yes, he's advancing little by little in the tournament, but he's telling himself he can't do it on his own. And that's what he's telling everybody else. So in the quarterfinals or in the final block matches, we get the Oswong. And the commentators are even touching on, he said he can't do it alone. He's tapping into another power, whatever. And we get out of that. But again, do it within reason. Don't just put it out for the sake of putting it out.
And then another thing too is we getting a combination of everything. Like, I think people mix up the whole career of Bray Wyatt, but like we got different portions. We got the Wyatt family, which like you see the ever growing Luke Harper stuff. You know what I'm saying? Then eventually Braun Strowman.
That's a whole nother chapter.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? So it's like what they're doing right now to me is vastly different because Fiend was by himself and had a female with him. Alexa Bliss.
We could have got Uncle Howdy, however, Bray left us a little too soon. We get that, but as far as everything else, like I said, I understand where people are concerned about. I understand where bullies come from, but I also understand that again, take the switch you may. Paul Levesque is not Vince McMahon. He's gonna take as much time with this as needed be. And yes, there's gonna be some rough patches, especially in these infant stages, but I have every ounce of faith in the world that this is gonna work. Because
I think
he's
so
gonna
too. I don't think we got anything to worry about.
He's gonna understand that there's certain parts that you might want to be very careful with and tread lightly, but again, we'll steer through it together.
Yeah, I don't think we got nothing to worry about there for sure.
I think our question is like what we said yesterday: do we commit them to one show? Do we have them go to multiple shows?
I mean, I think from the looks of it tonight, unless they were responsible for that brawling up top, keeping them on the main roster for now.
I touched that video. Brooks Jensen was beating up on somebody, but I couldn't make out who it was.
Yeah, so it's looking like there's no need to oversaturate. We seen them last night. They didn't bring them out tonight on NXT. That doesn't mean they're not going to bring them out, but that just means we're not getting them 3 times a week as of yet.
So Bully was kind of on board saying if they're going to do what they're going to do, he was kind of hitting that you keep them on Raw and you use them as sparingly as possible. So people just assume people going. They could be here. They may not be here. Everyone just at like a hysteric panic level type deal.
Yep. That's how I imagine it too. Again, I said it. I was like, I'm not mad if we choose to use them just at the end of Raw. Because remember, last night I said it, like, it felt like they're not even part of the Raw roster. It felt like after the showing off, like main event, it was like the hooligans are out. It kind of felt like the Purge, like it hit midnight.
Like the Nexus almost 15 years ago.
Yeah, bro. Like we want to say they signed to Raw, but in my opinion, they're not part of it. They just did causing havoc. Free agents. Free agency talk. Like, let's not ignore that because that's powerful. They might be even too. Look, that's their way of saying we're not negotiating no contract. We everywhere. I want to sign us. I ain't no signing us.
And so far, Jey Uso said he wants none of them. Dijak said he wants none of them. Supposedly, Woods and Kobe said they left Raw early and they want none of them.
Notice how all the good people is dipping. You know what I'm saying? They like, oh nah, we good on that.
Bronson Reed was on Twitter talking like, "Oh, I missed all this bullshit. I'm good."
Facts. That stuff you sent with Karrion Kross was funny too. I'm like, nah.
I'm still laughing at that. So for those that may not have seen, they were touching on the fact that again, Chad Gable bleeding on the side of his head. So someone's like, this man caught a bullet wound to the side that he ain't come back from nothing. Karrion Kross goes, you haven't seen this man in the gym.
Gable be dropping weights on his head, you heard? Like he be lifting up like 200 pounds with his forehead.
This man be bleeding out of his nose, his ears, and his asshole. I still got 10 more sets in me.
He do look like that tight. The veins is popping out the neck and all that. He going crazy on that last one.
I was that dude in high school.
I feel that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Get y'all reps in. Health is wealth.
Yeah, but not when you turn the body up while doing so.
Oh, nah. I ain't gonna lie. I've gotten injured. I told you this shit. I got injured by getting hit by a car, but luckily playing sports, I was always just doing my motions safely. Like I never really got hurt working out or fucking. Nah, I came down one time wrong off a rebound, but I attribute that more to what I had on my feet more than anything. Like I feel like I come down off a rebound in a pair of actual basketball sneakers rather than some fucking Dolce and Gabbana shoes and shit because somebody want to talk shit to me outside. Like there was times we playing basketball in Tim's, bro. Like in the middle of like cold ass weather. Like
hey, do what you gotta do.
Shit was like you said NBA Street the other day. Remember they had characters in there with boots on and shit?
With the butters on?
Yeah, you feel me? We had those like for real. Like people just get the jaw jack. Like, no, I'm gonna step out. So I'm glad I never caught a real injury. I watched one of my boys do a Euro step and tear his whole like ACL. I'm like, Jesus. Hey, it did a slow ass Euro step too. That shit looked like it wasn't even worth it. But it was...
I was that one stupid ass kid that tried playing in chanclas.
Oh nah,
No,
we got those too. There be people that be doing that shit too. I'm like, y'all guys are amazing, bro. Amazing.
no, I fucked my moves up a couple times.
Yeah, that's dangerous, bro.
So
Especially
then
like
I was on just playing with socks on, not giving a fuck.
what you was playing on, like grass and shit? You was playing because I know you told me rugby. What you playing, basketball?
No, this was hooping on concrete, just on the block.
Man, because it depends what you playing, right? Like you could probably get away with, you know what I'm saying, maybe doing something on the grass and not hurting yourself as much. On the concrete, you getting fucked up, bro.
So
Scrapes, all kind of shit.
So you know those Vibram toe shoes, right? That folks kind of use for like at the gym or hiking, whatever.
Yep.
So I'd fuck my knee up in a rugby game or whatever. Why my stupid ass think it was a good idea to put that bitch on a set of my cleats and just do a little walkthrough with my team at a practice. I'm sliding around left and right like I'm fucking James Brown. What the fuck that mean? I'm like, oh, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt.
Man. Nah, that shit crazy right there.
Yeah, it took a lot of whiskey to make that pain go away that night. That was rough. I had more ice on my knee than Shaq had in his whole body that night.
My boy was out there going through it right there. Nah, I know how to. I had a torn knee and torn shoulder, so I know how that shit feel. That shit crazy.
Surprised I didn't turn it in that practice.
It's a sprain.
I had hyperextended it, and then I took like a week off, and so I was gonna ease back in. I was like, I'm good. My dumbass is like, no, I'll keep my Vibrams on or whatever, set up my cleats because I don't want to like do too much moving and try to fuck up whatever. Put my cleats on, so I did it on. The grass is a little wet. I'm like, I'm fucked.
I'm fucked.
That first step I took, I was like, nah, this is bad.
Yeah, bro. Shit. But I think going just back to with the Bully Ray and everything, like they got nothing to worry about there.
Like I said, I think it comes down to us as fans being, unfortunately, preconditioned to the old Vince bullshit. So we see something that a little questionable, maybe the scars kind of like open up just a little bit. It's like,
I think this is one of those rare cases that, you know how in this day and age, you feel like WWE listening to social media. They just need to tunnel vision with this one. Don't even, whatever they saying.
But for the most part, everyone's been on board with it. It's just some folks are like, all right, this is cool. Just be careful with X, Y, and Z. That's all we're saying. Just be careful with these little bits right here. You'd be cool. You got a couple little assholes that are trying to talk shit on whatever.
But I ain't gonna lie. I think that part is the inevitable for me. Like if I'm looking at them, Y6, if you putting them in matches and they look beatable, this shit ain't believable no more. To me, it's gonna be like, well y'all just go around it.
Again, down the road, maybe different story. But again, in the meantime, say again, to just be spitballing. What if for the first few months, whatever, we just see Bo Dallas in the ring, nobody else, or he'll do some Thanos shit, and then we'll get some bullshit like Rowan will come out leveling, whatever, they'll still a mask on, and like some gang warfare type shit, or just something, whatever.
The only thing I might be worried about is like to your point when you said Retribution, when they had their actual people debut, they didn't look believable in the ring. Dijak was the only real big dude that was like you can believe, like, oh yeah, he choke slammed somebody, lifted up. But outside of that, all of everybody was like regular, like, you know what I'm saying?
And then now you have, like I said, as far as this Rowan's, you don't got to worry about him. It's like I said, it's more so how do we tie the loose ends with Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, and Dexter Lumis. That was Bully's big question. How do we tie these loose ends right here, and we'll be good from there.
Well, yeah, like Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis,
like Nikki Cross, you could probably get away with the whole, oh yeah, she was crazy in insanity, she was crazy doing this and this, she was crazy doing this. All right, cool, whatever. But at least,
and she was already with Alexa Bliss too, while Alexa Bliss had that character, so it's not far fetched for me with that one, like.
Right. Yeah, but then Lumis has always been that what if. Joe Gacy, we saw these similarities to Bray, but it's like, again, this is essentially his main roster call-up. So again, there's a couple loose ends. Be careful how you tie those loose ends, but once we get past those, oh shit, we cook them with Crisco.
But you see now, I think that's where the wrong emphasis is put, because
How so?
we need, like, when Brave was the inception of the Firefly Funhouse, that's where most of these characters come from. His idea was to bring them to life, right? So we had to find somebody that was going. Now, what if these were the people that was going to play this shit all along? Like, you know what I'm saying? And Bray's mind, like.
But also, again, the ideologies behind the Bray Wyatt character were similar to that of like a Charles Manson. Again, how did these guys get to do some Bray verbiage? How did these individuals find? How did the light find them? How did the Fireflies guide them to me? Type shit.
So now we want, okay, I get it now. We want the to know who's under the mask of what we was introduced to.
Similar to the OG Wyatt family, for lack of better terms, similar to how we were forming slowly the CM Punk's Straight Edge Society. Everyone had a story of what brought them to this, and it all worked together. It all gelled. Nexus, they all had the ties from the game, so they all said that they're being held back. That's so they formed this unison bond. The Shield, back in NXT, they all kind of said, hey, we ain't taking no one's shit. It's us three against the world. Evolution, Flair and Hunter got together and said, hey, we're handpicking two guys that will be the future of this company. Dave Bautista, 6'6", 300 pounds of muscle. Randy Orton, the third generation coal that will be forged into a diamond in this business. The Four Horsemen back in the day.
They all change their name.
Again, we don't know about that. We don't know if they're going based off of the character names, if they're gonna have new names, if they're keeping their names. We don't know. But my point is, with all these other factions, they've all kind of expressed what brought them together. Like I said, even with the Four Horsemen, you had four guys that said, we're the best, baddest motherfuckers here. Who's gonna step to us? We are the best, whether you like it or not. Learn to love it.
Because what I'm saying is, like, they gonna give us the reveals. Like, let's say Eric Rowan take his mask off. He gonna go back to being Eric Rowan. I'm not mad at that.
But like I said, Rowan is the easiest one because, again, he already has the ties to the Wyatt faction, or just in general. That's the easy one. The question is, how do we incorporate Gacy? How do we incorporate Cross? How do we incorporate Loomis? Because they was off doing their own thing. You could say they were established as their own thing. Gacy could be a little bit easier, much like a Rowan, because you could say that he looked as Bray as the ultimate mentor. He studied him or whatever, and like he followed the Fireflies to Uncle Howdy, some shit, whatever. Same with Nikki Cross, whatever. Like they followed the light. You can stick around this narrative of we followed the light. It led us to Uncle Howdy. There's ways you could do it. It's just don't be afraid to do that. This is one of the things where, again, you could probably get away with doing the old Bray stuff with the old stuff. Like it's almost like a cult family type deal. They were all led together. They were all drawn together. The spirit of Bray brought them together. Like I said yesterday, when we get that little piano note, you could have played a Bray's voice saying, "We have the whole world in our hands." Just little footnotes like that to just tie everything together.
There's a lot that they could definitely do right there.
Like I said, you have 5 characters, essentially, 5 very talented individuals. Don't be afraid to go do the extra mile, add some little extra sauce on it, go into detail certain things to just give each one their own backstory if needed be. If Nick Cross is supposed to be Strabico, cool. If Loomis is supposed to be Mercy the Buzzer, cool. Gacy is supposed to be Huskus the Pig, cool. Just let us know. Explain how, like I said, how the spirit found them, whatever. Just let us know. And if you got to break it up week to week, maybe even you say one person each month, maybe whatever, just do whatever.
What if they give us that rollout offline? Like off the air?
We could very well do that because, again, like I said, Bo for a while was very active on their YouTube under the name Dreadmare, or it was a fan page made supposedly, but that's a lot of where his stuff was. I've been checking that YouTube page, even the It Begins Again, the one that was for Bray. I haven't seen nothing yet at this time.
Like you said, it's a chance to make some origin content.
Loomis, Cross, Gacy, and Rowan. I don't know if Bo's on Twitter now, but they've all kind of expressed on social media that they're confirmed that it's them in there and all that in some way, shape, or form. But again, they're putting the feelers out there. It's just once you're on the camera, whatever, it don't got to be right away. You can send this for a few weeks or whatever, and just do the little bits here and there. Just introduce yourselves to us. And like I said, if you want to do a little backstory on how you guys came together, that's even better. Because again, you're setting the table for the story that's to come.
Do we get them on SmackDown?
It's possible because a little bit after we logged off this morning, Nick Aldis tweeted a whole bunch of question marks regarding this situation. It was just a few question marks. So I'm sure everyone's on edge on SmackDown. Okay, are they going to pop up? Are they not going to pop up? What's the move? All we know is that they're targeting folks that have done others wrong in the past. Let's see where they go with it.
It's about to get spicy, chat. It's about to get spicy. I can't wait.
But also this Friday, the return of Phil Brooks in Chicago.
Did we get Drew on SmackDown?
We might. We very well might. Because again, there's a lot you could do with this. Well, also, off topic from WWE real quick, Tony Khan unveiled 2 matches for the Owen Hart Classic that we're going to start tomorrow on Dynamite. We don't know if there is actual brackets for either side. We don't know yet. But for the men, it's going to be, I believe, Claudio versus Pac.
Okay, yeah, you sent me that one. Yo.
And the women will be Chris Statlander versus Nyla Rose. Now, had Nyla Rose been more involved with the AEW stuff, I would have been on board with this. But as of late, not the greatest. But also, they just announced that during the Claudio Pac match, Bryan Danielson will be on commentary.
They love special guest commentators.
Now, my question is, will they have Nigel McGuinness on as well? Because Nigel McGuinness has been wanting that smoke for a few years now.
He do Dynamite?
He's done Dynamite matches on occasion, usually Collision or Rampage in the Ring of Honor stuff for some of the bigger pay-per-views, but he's never been shot. Again, him and Bryan Danielson, you go back to their historic feud in Ring of Honor. Nigel, yes, I think he was also retired early due to injuries, but still one of the greatest performers I've ever had the luxury of watching on my television screen. I believe he was also in TNA under the name Desmond Wolfe. Him and Kurt Angle had a few amazing matches as well. Nigel is one of those guys to where when he's on, and he don't get enough love. But he's been taking a lot of shots at Bryan as of late, and a lot of these shots are about as deep cuts as what we used to get with Bryan and Miz. So they're definitely going below the belt. So, for example, this past weekend, Nigel McGuinness cut a line that has taken the internet by storm. He stated, Bryan Danielson claims he's a vegan, even though he cannot stop eating Bree's meat.
Hey.
I'm paraphrasing that, but that's kind of the gist of what he was getting at. And the internet was like, this motherfucker wilding right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, Dynamite tomorrow. I may watch the Claudio Pac match. I'll definitely watch the MJF Roosh match. That's going to open the show. But other than that, honestly, I'm not really excited for what else they got on the card.
Yeah. You
And
want to backpack me with that one because
Oh.
I'm gonna take my Wednesday to just
yeah. And like I said, it's a shame because again, like it would have been nice if they announced 2 brackets, 1 men, 1 women for the Owen Hart tournament because this is supposed to be a big deal for them. Even though I feel it's a giant tax write-off for Tony Khan because they do some charity work for the Owen Hart Foundation. But again, you want this to be a big deal as it rightfully should because it's Owen Hart, for crying out loud. But he's just so careless with it. When I hear an Owen Hart tournament, I would assume you'd pick 8 guys that are technical wrestlers. So yeah, you get Claudio, Pac, that's gonna be fine. But who else? And are we gonna get a bracket tomorrow on Dynamite? Or are we gonna get a random match announced on Twitter like we always do? Why couldn't Roosh and MJF be an Owen Hart tournament match? You want MJF to kind of like reestablish himself and get his claim to fame, but it says you're going to have him in what will be a very, very physical match. Don't get me wrong, but hopefully Roosh takes care of MJF because I can see some shit going sideways real fucking quick.
Dude, it's crazy too because like that Owen Hart tournament is going to lead to a future heavyweight championship match. So the fact, like you said, that they are not in that tournament for that match, I think it meant more for just everything for the tournament for them. So
yeah, because if you want to make that some sort of a grudge match, cool. All right, add some type of significance. Tony Khan could have been like, well, guess what? I already had you guys in the Owen Hart tournament, and then drop the bracket or something like that. And be like, boom. Either you're the first round, or guess what? If you win your first match, you guys get to the second round. Something, whatever, anything.
Yeah.
But this will be, I believe, MJF's first match since he's been back.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not many guys that are as tough as Roosh. You can argue Joe, maybe Brody King, and all that, but Roosh, he don't give a damn who you are. He gonna dish it.
Yeah, that's what we was talking about. That it's gonna be a little matchup for MJF right there on his first one back. Type
oh shit. Yeah, this gonna be something.
But I'm more looking forward to like what I'm saying, SmackDown shit like that. So after after this little Wednesday, we got 2 more days, Thursday,
Yep.
Friday.
Let's see if all this has anything else planned for SmackDown as I check the interweb.
Yeah, cause we're gonna get that SmackDown qualifier that day.
Yep. Let's see. Seeing nothing quite yet. I guess it's a whole lot of will the White Six faction show up? Will they not? That's kind of that's mostly what everyone's waiting on. Yes, we're getting the qualifier for the Monday Bag match with was it Randy Orton, Tama Tonga, and Carmelo Hayes?
Yep.
Was there a women's match announced for SmackDown 2 or no?
Nah. And if there was, I didn't see it that day.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either. Yeah, and on all that's really been advertised is we're gonna get some sort of follow up from the Cody and Solo stuff, and we will see CM Punk on SmackDown in Chicago.
Mm.
So it's a whole lot of what could happen. Could we see Drew? Could we not see Drew? But
Yeah, it's gonna be a little tune into. I feel like we're gonna see some more bloodline stuff, Cody stuff. I feel like they got unfinished business from Clash.
and let's see, as of the time when NXT went off the air in the digital exclusive, Jada Parker says she plans to do whatever it takes to run Mia Yim out of NXT.
Oh shit! Ooh wee, she talking spicy.
She's saying you got to go.
Gots to go. That's crazy.
Also, have you heard of this Twitter page called NXT Anonymous?
Nah.
So they've been doing some stuff. They did some stuff back in April, but they put another video earlier today. It was the Gallus guys kind of bringing up the fact that Wesley was going to challenge OFFTHEHIP for the get another shot essentially, and some dudes jumped the door and put the paws on him. Couldn't quite make out who bum rushed him, but yeah, it was recorded per NXT Anonymous.
I'm not gonna lie. They do these angles too soon in between. Where like, bro, how many cryptic attacks we're gonna get on anonymous attacks? We gonna, like, I really felt the most creative one, and probably the first one might have been Chris Jericho's Y2J, the countdown, the even when he came back the second time with the codes and shit, putting the cryptic codes,
Right.
and everybody put the pieces together. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know, bro. I want to give shit a chance, but again, when I see the repetition, it kind of feels like this is what it feels like. I feel like, oh yeah, the people that watch NXT don't necessarily watch Raw and vice versa. So I think we could do this shit over here.
No, well, like we've been saying for a while, like what are you guys doing to make this moment its own?
Yeah. That's the problem for me right there.
Did you happen to see the official cover for Money in the Bank?
No. Oh
Boom.
wow. Yeah, my wifey was asking me if that was real. I was like, I don't know.
That is the official cover for Money in the Bank.
That's crazy.
Now,
I mean,
now
it's
did
not
they
really
go?
crazy, but it is. But it's not.
I mean, we've been kind of like foreshadowing that as much as we've kind of been against it for the most part, but it's like, I guess.
I mean, again, like whether we want to say he not in the bloodline because he's not. I mean, he's still part of that story though,
Yep.
and has like a lot of like. There's a lot you could do with. So it don't be like you said when we foreshadow. It's kind of like they throwing that shit right there in front of us.
So like I said, we'll see what goes down with it.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not much else to add as far as what we could get from SmackDown this weekend or Friday.
Mm. Sometimes it's better like that, like
Yep.
going into the show, cause like again, that's when we get the false announcements, which leads to the last second changes, like we just seen on Raw. Oh, Xavier Woods versus Karrion Cross tonight. Shit was a alert set.
Yep. But again, time will tell. But the only other thing I do have to add from as far as NXT was before NXT went on the air, the number one entrant for the Battle Royal was Frankie Kazarian. So they played his music for the crowd, and he got a pretty good pop about it.
The future.
The king of TNA, the king of NXT is what he was called himself.
Man.
Well, yeah, now we just sit and wait.
Yeah, I think we had on everything for tonight, right? Like
Pretty much. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers won their match, so the Stanley Cup playoffs still going on for those of you hockey fans. And yeah.
yeah, looking like we get a little chill down up until, you know what I'm saying, when July kick around. I can imagine like even the week before, like I was saying, when they bring SmackDown to New York, even in Chicago, things could get crazy as of this Thursday, for real.
Mm-hmm. Because you know CM Punk going to poke that bear.
Yeah.
And we are here for the chaos.
Hell yeah. But the only thing I'm like you said, that's what it's gonna be about that day, I guess. More so poking the bear. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, look at him, he quit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Do we have Cody and Punk have a little moment together?
Mm.
We shall see.
We can argue too that I mean it'll probably be whack. But let's say they doing all of these qualifying matches, right?
Right.
We've seen 7 participants in or whatever. Like they could spin Drew versus CM Punk for a qualified spot and the Money in the Bank.
I think because Money in the Bank's involved, that might be a bit overkill, maybe. Because like I said, that match alone, that's a main event, any event. Title or no title. Especially right now. But what would be interesting is like say Punk is offered like a SmackDown qualifier spot or whatever. You get Drew come in, do some fuckery or whatever. I don't know how they tie that in, but yeah, it's only a matter of time before Drew comes back. I mean, it could very well be Chicago. It could be at a future PLE. But again, let's just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, we at that wait and see what happens.
The calm before the storm.
Well, I mean, I think we good right there. If you got something to add on, you could.
I'm good.
I got all my notes. We good. So yeah, chat. Y'all already know what it is. We're gonna come back. If there's anything emergency pod worthy between here and Thursday, then we'll drop an emergency pod on your asses. So I think we done. Just cause shit's slowing down a little bit. Nah.
we just waiting for shit to pop off. That's all it is.
Yeah, waiting in the cut. So don't be surprised if we just do a fucking random, you know what I'm saying? Emergency pod on y'all real quick. Like, but y'all know the schedule already, so it's gonna be Friday. As of now, we got them other things working for y'all too, like what we just talked about last night. So we just gonna, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's kind of busy as to where, like, you know, real life, everybody got jobs. My brother Snake Eyes battle, you know what I'm saying? So he be caught up in the rapture of giving y'all entertainment.
But don't worry, he's coming.
Oh yeah. So yeah, just stay tuned, y'all. We out here cooking, you heard? For my
Yes,
brother
sir.
Snake Eyes, It's your boy HD Razor. We out of here, y'all.